build, and price. It's finally here. So folks, thank you for making it to the live. Thank you for your patience and sticking through this entire process of waiting on a Ford Maverick. We waited 18 months and it was an extremely long wait, and some people are saying it's just not worth it. But Marie's going to be selling probably her Maverick tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm sad. If it passed the test, we will say goodbye on Friday.
But you waited 18 months and it'll pay off in the resale value. So let me just pull this a little closer here, try to get it off the pole so we don't shake the camera. There we go. So Marie, we had to wait 18 months, but now she's in a position, like many Maverick owners who have waited, to have incredible resale value, because getting a hybrid on one of these, you're looking at a 1 to 2 year wait. And getting an EcoBoost, well, that is a solution to getting built faster, and now it costs less. So let's go through the build and price tonight. If you're here for the whole live, what's really cool, I think very interesting, is after the build and price, we're going to talk a little bit about Ford recalls. We're also going to be talking about general market data. There is a repossession crisis according to YouTube. So let's cover, is that true? And sorry, I've got Tim Bartz in my head. We do BS Busters here. So we'll do BS Busters on the repo crisis and what you can do to prevent from getting a repossession. So Marie's covering tonight. We're getting her talking some English. So if you like if you don't like her accent, you can leave the show, or I'd love it if you just deal with it. I love her accent. Hopefully you will too.
You will translate.
I'll translate. I'm here to take care of everyone. So we're going to be talking about tricks and tips to not get repossessed. You don't want your vehicle getting repossessed because it hurts almost as it's similar to having a bankruptcy. Some people think, hey, I'll just put the keys, the dealer screwed me, so I'm just going to go leave the keys and the car at the dealer, and it's there. Now it's their problem. No, my friend, it is your problem. Your credit has been ruined now for 7 years, just like if you had a bankruptcy. Good luck ever getting another auto loan. And when I say ever, I mean within the next 7 years. Your credit is going to be horrible, and we're here, Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, to save you thousands and take care of you with auto information that you need to know. Must know auto information to make sure that you're A-okay, because we're here to keep everything hunky-dory for everybody. So we've got the 2024 Ford Maverick build, and we're going to be talking about tips and tricks to not get repossessed, because even if you've missed payments, you can still avoid getting repossessed. Just like a bad boyfriend or girlfriend, you can string them along for years. Ha 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 ha. Definitely not stringing you along. Found out some incredible information about Marie tonight. I'm super excited to share with you. Guess what, guys and gals? Marie now can, I think I could leave a drink on her belly. So she was making the chicken wraps tonight, and I was like, I think if I still drank beer, I could leave a beer can on your belly, but I'm onto the way I made bubbly
the wrap,
water.
I was almost pushing the wrap with my belly to make sure the plate don't fall.
I've heard of belly dancers, and now you've all heard of belly wraps. So I had a belly wrap for dinner made with chicken and her belly. So Marie is steadily increasing on the whole pregnancy front. Warp speed ahead.
Outside the reviews asking when is the gender reveal. Not yet. We will only know in 1 week, so we doesn't know at all.
And just like how I believe in the importance of eating beef that has eaten real grass and actual hay, I also will be very comfortable telling everyone the gender of the baby, because, well, science will let us know about that with the ultrasound. Science, biology, and all those wonderful things will let us actually know what the gender of the baby is, what sex, boy or girl. So we'll let you know. We're finding out next Monday morning. So perfect for the live show. So I think
good timing.
Yeah, good timing. I think it's about time to get down to business. Now, I just want to cover that we're not just doing tips and tricks and recalls for the show. If you're here for the whole live, we'll talk about what's scheduling this week. So that's just going to be about a minute and a half of information you should know if you've got something ordered with Ford. But we're also going to talk a little bit about, let's see here, We're going to be talking about Maverick production, actual Maverick production, what's going on at Ford in regards to sales. Is Ford completely doomed? And what you can actually expect for price increases or decreases. And on my end, I've got wonderful and horrible news going down at Ford. Ford has done something that's incredible for some buyers and consumers and absolutely horrible for other consumers. I just took a huge hit. Ford today. For some people, they're gonna love this news, but I can say I took a hit right between the legs, and it was sent by Ford. So Ford hit me in the man parts, and it hurt, and it's gonna hurt for a few more years. So Ford just cost me thousands of dollars. So I lost thousands of dollars with Ford, but I have a trick to actually avoid losing thousands of dollars, and it's all about how I constructed my purchase lease. So we'll talk about that and why leases can be very helpful. And I'm going to be an example of this because I could be losing $40,000 right now if I wasn't in a lease position, if I wasn't leasing the vehicle. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Huge price decreases at Ford. Let's get right down to the business. Let's talk about the 2024 Ford Maverick. That is the build-in price. Now, if you're not into Maverick stuff and you only want to hear the other stuff, we'll come back in 40 minutes and we'll be talking about all the other news. Or if you just want one of those pieces of news, well, I'd love it if you actually hang out and chat with everyone in the comment section. Let us know what you think. But we do cut these into micro mini episodes. So we'll cut these into about 5 or 6 episodes throughout the upcoming week. So let's get started. Pedal to the metal. 2024 Ford Maverick build and price. Yes, the prices are here. We can actually build it online if you're on the USA site. If you're on the Canadian side, too bad. We're 30% later than the Americans, I guess. It's not just our exchange rate where there's a difference. It's also when the people who build these sites get down to business, and they're only getting down to business and about 30% later. So this could take 3-4 weeks on the Canadian side. Mind you, if you are on the Canadian side, really important information, I checked in Ford system, and yes, pricing is up. The pricing guide is up. So theoretically, with a whole lot of extra work, dealers can actually convert your order, but not easily like this here. So the dealer has to do 100% of everything, and they've got the pricing in Canada and you don't. So USA Maverick order, folks, you're lucky. You can actually check your dealer and make sure they've got the right price for you, that you're not getting BS'd. So this is a bit of BS busting. We're going to go through what the real price is. And remember, everyone, when you order, even if you're just converting your order because you're a 23 order or you're an all new order, you need to get them to sign your build sheet. 1. 2, you need to get them to sign a lease or purchase agreement. They'll have you sign it, but you need their signature. You signing it is their protection. Them signing, the sales director, is your protection. Protection for the interest rate, protection for the price. Some dealers will try to rob you for thousands of dollars. And everyone on the internet gets mad at Ford. They pick on Ford, it seems, the most, but this is going on at Toyota. This is going on at GM. Heck, GM, when you order, you can't even protect your price and your interest rate in any way whatsoever. So these are important things to know. Get that lease signed agreement. And then if you really want to make sure that they gave you a confirmed order, of course, ask from the beginning, do you confirm your orders? And then finally, when it gets down to business, ask them to send you the DORA sheet. It's a proof that the order went in, and you can even get the WebDo confirmation sheet. They can just send you a photo by texto. It takes 10 seconds, and that way you know they got down to business and they did everything right. Because Ford right now, just last week, I had 6 Mavericks scheduled. 6 Mavericks, get a build date and a VIN. I'm ecstatic. I sent everyone texts. I think I made some really happy people.
That's
so thank you, Ford.
Fun to give good news to people who are waiting that long.
It is. Now, from recollection, they're all EcoBoosts. So that's one thing though. Right now there's a bit of a recall on the hybrids, and I don't know when we'll actually be able to deliver most of the current Maverick hybrids. The Ford F-150 Lightning, there's also some touched by a recall that could take, Ford often, don't worry if you've seen the recall and you see, ready by before the end of Q4, which means the end of this year. It doesn't actually mean it's going to take 5-6 months. Ford now often will say, ready by Q4, so they give themselves 4 to 6 months. And Mach-E, we saw it. Lightning was a great example when it happened. So we've had recently at least 2, and I believe actually 3 examples of Ford pushing way out recall dates. And I called it when they did it on the Lightning, and people were saying this, YouTube was saying this is the end of the Lightning. They can't even deliver them, and they can't for months and months and months, so it's game over. I was like, they'll probably have this worked out within 2 or 3 weeks, and it was exactly 2.5 weeks. It was 2 or 3 weeks, 2.5. So I'm not worried. But the Maverick, I wouldn't worry about ordering one up. Any type of recall that has a delivery hold. We'll talk more about recalls in episode 2 of this live. But they end up getting worked out much more quickly than foreseen. They give themselves time just in case. So Marie, I know you're going to get excited for these prices, but remember, this is USA pricing, build and price, not up for Canadians, but we could convert an order and put it in. But according to Ford, by the way, if you're a Canadian watching this, according to Ford, the Maverick in Canada only sold out. I saw it on the fleet order production sheet. It was saying that the Maverick was sold out, and we have it. Maybe you'll come across it later, but it was months later, and it was only talking about the EcoBoost, but it was saying the EcoBoost sold out actually in, I think it was March in Canada. So this is going to sell out quickly in the United States. Canada has their allotment. We're not as car crazy. We're not as on YouTube nearly as much. 5% of my viewers are Canadian viewers only. So that just goes to show how, in Canada, we chase vehicles less. We're not as much of car chasers. I don't know if we're chasing the ladies more or what we're chasing, but it's not cars. We do like our guns though. So the XL is starting at $23,400 US, because now guess what? The 2-liter EcoBoost is your standard engine. So let's talk about the price of the hybrid now. $23,400. Maybe you can help me out with the math here, Marie. If we go $23,400 and we kick that up to $24,900, let's see how good you are in math.
I don't have a good memory today. I'm so sorry.
That's not memory. That's actually just math.
Yeah,
So
but I don't remember the first.
Oh,
That's why.
I hear you.
Big day.
23,400. Kick it up to 24,900.
1,500. Yeah.
Right on. Practice your English. Practice your math. Now the XLT, 26,315 starting price. We'll get to what the real price is.
Not that big difference to have an hybrid. That's good.
To get an XLT, no, the price difference between an XL and an XLT isn't that high. And if you want to see exactly what that entails, so maybe you can do the math here, 26,315 minus 24,900. What are we talking about, Marie?
24. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's I don't 1,400. I'm not good to do the reverse.
So $1,400. Yeah. And what do we get? Well, Ford, the website's going to tell you straight up. You get adaptable XLT model, adds cubby storage in the bed. So that's in the bed. You've got a little compartment where you can hide stuff. By the way, drug sniffing dogs will sniff that out. So this isn't a naughty spot. It's not airtight. Things will get sniffed out. If you throw it down coffee, apparently that throws off the dogs. But still, don't do anything illegal, folks. You'll probably get caught. And even if you don't, it's unethical. Now, you get also the 10 tie downs. The 10 tie downs, we're using them in our F-150 Lightning this weekend, trying in a torrential downpour, trying to pick up cabinets so you can have your dream kitchen, and you're trying to save me money.
It was crazy in that rain.
Was crazy.
But we did it.
But those tie downs are useful. That is where your straps, your little strap hooks, you're going to click them in, run your to the next strap, and then crank it. Make sure before starting to crank it, actually get the distance on the the crank, the rope, get it already almost pretty tight before you start cranking. Otherwise, you can over spool it and, you know, fill up your crank, and then basically it's a heck of a time getting it out. You get 17-inch carbonized gray painted aluminum wheels, an upgraded navy Pierre, and it says upgraded. Not everybody finds the interior actually upgraded. Some people prefer the black XL interior, but you're getting dark blue and gray interior. And you're getting those premium cloth seats. Comfort wise, there's no comfort difference between an XL and XLT. I've spent hours in all the models, and whether you sit your bum in a Lariat or you park your rear into the XL, the comfort of the seat is the same. And why is that? Because don't be fooled, the actual building of the seat is the same. It's just the covering that changes. You've got premium cloth seats, so we talked about that, and well, good times and good looks are in your future. So why are they saying good looks are in your future? Well, you can always go online and do a little search for 2024 Ford Maverick order guide. Be careful, there's a difference between the Canadian order guide and the American order guide. For example, in the States, you don't have your wipers that de-ice. In Canada, we still have our de-icing wipers, but with the XLT package. But in the States, it's gone for 2024. So your Ford's talking about these extra XLT looks. It's the little bar up here. You get the little gray bar there. So you got a bit of a different look in the grille. You've got your mags. And well, the rest to me looks very similar to the XLT. Yeah. To the XL. So let's go back to the XL and check that out. XL, of course, you can see it right there. You've got your rims, mirror caps are the same, the fenders are the same. It really looks the same, but it's a $1,400 difference. That's not bad. $1,400, if it was just the mags, I'd say, oh, those are expensive wheels, but you're getting more than the wheels, and you can actually check out all the little details in the 2024 Ford Maverick order guide. I'd say get the XLT because Ford is going to be building the category, the trim they're building the most of is XLT. Now, I've covered this in previous shows, so I'm going off memory, but XL was, 20% now? They've kicked it up, but XLT was the huge majority of the actual builds. And of course, you need to know this, a lot of people are getting carried over. They've ordered a 2023, they're not going to get a 2023, a lot of people, if they've ordered a hybrid. So a lot of the hybrids are going to people who've already been waiting. So if you're a new 2024 order and you order a hybrid, guess what, folks? That means that if you order an XL hybrid, good luck. Even if you're this morning and you're the first of the new orders, maybe you'll get it. But I think, if you're this morning new order XLT hybrid, yeah, you're going to get it. I'm very confident. But if you're an XL with only 20% of all the Mavericks going to XL, and then roughly 30% of those are going to be hybrids, I think they're all going to be filled up by carryovers. So personally, I would never order as a new orderer an XL hybrid, unless I'm willing to wait. Marie waited. Now she's going to have a whole lot of cash in her pocket. Marie's hit the lottery with the Maverick. Like in life, there's a balance, pros and cons. Sometimes the cons go really down, the really bad 18-month wait, but then the pro, tons of money. You gotta always balance out and look at the two sides of the coin, as they say. Now I'm out of expressions to explain my situation. So let's get back to the XLT. The XLT hybrid, the cost is what? Well, I think I'm going to test your math again, Marie, even though you've already failed. But 26,315. In case you're visual, I'm going to point it at it.
Yeah, I'm more visual, thank you.
So am I. And if the computer wants to work here, 27,815.
Okay, so it's I'm not that good
it's 1,500.
Yeah,
it's okay. I'm a little better with the math now.
I got it when you say it.
Now, the Lariat, though, it's not 1,500. So the standard engine now is the 2-liter turbo on the Lariat at 34,855. What do we get if we kick that up to 35,635, Marie?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. I was
30.
checking the chat.
34,855. Now we kick it up to 35,635.
Yeah, it's
What's the price difference there?
35. Okay, 800.
Yeah. Are people in the chat, by the way? I'm not reading the comments because I'm focusing over here. I'm wondering, are the people in the chat better at math than Marie, or are you about the same at math with Marie?
I do it roughly.
I played a lot of Monopoly as a
hundreds.
kid.
In hundreds.
I played
don't
a
go with
lot.
the-
I played a ton of Monopoly as a kid, so I kind of get the quick math pretty easy. And I also learned that in life, if you don't want to have to work for someone, if you go around the Monopoly board and you don't buy any properties, you'll collect your 200, but overall you're going to lose out in life because the 200, which is your regular job, it's your paycheck, doesn't cover all those expenses in life. So Monopoly taught us, buy property, rent it out.
They never told us to buy a car and sell it after.
No, Monopoly didn't teach you that because traditionally you bought a car and it immediately depreciated and you lost
Normal
money.
time.
Now, great question came across the chat is basically, I wonder if this buy of a Maverick and then sell it for more is going to continue. Well, it's going to continue, and John B. Meanstroke is talking about the housing shortage. Well, the vehicle shortage. That's what's causing a Maverick to be worth more than a new. You know, you're going to sell your Maverick. Your Maverick used is worth more than a new because a new hybrid is like your vehicle now is probably a 1.5 to 2 year wait.
Yeah, so you can have a use right now, so it's worth the money.
You could pay a little more than a new for a used with 3,300 or 3,500 kilometers, or you can wait 2 years but pay the price of what it'll be in 2 years. It's going to go up anyways. So Maverick prices are going to continue to go up because production right now, with adding a third shift, is at about 120,000 units of Mavericks per year for a vehicle that they can probably sell for at about 350, 400,000 units per year, maybe even more. Heck, if the F-150 can sell close to 1 million units per year, I think the Maverick makes more sense than an F-150. I think the Maverick should outsell the F-150. So I think I'm not going to call it a near infinite demand for the Maverick, but I think they could sell 1 million of these. Now I do hope that, and they're not going to be building 1 million of these, so I hope that Ram and GM and Toyota all come out with a small truck and we can review them all and talk about all the pros and cons between them. Ram might end up having the most comfortable ride and the nicest interior, but if it's like the bigger trucks, it'll be the worst at work and may not be the most reliable of the gang, but we'll have to wait and see. Everything comes with pros and cons. Now, the Lariat, so you can get your hybrid. You've got an $800 difference when going to the Lariat hybrid, so that's interesting. And that's probably because I have a feeling the 2-liter EcoBoost on the Lariat probably is, you know, in Canada, it's been like this. You had to take it all-wheel drive. And I'm wondering if that's because in the States, if you go 2-liter turbo, I think automatically it's going all-wheel drive, and that's why the difference is smaller. Now, you made magic happen on the screen earlier, Marie.
Yeah, don't take the picture, take the border.
Thank you so much. So let's see here. That's right. Lariat, it comes standard as all-wheel drive. So if you want a Lariat, you gotta take it all-wheel drive. You're not getting that as a 2-liter EcoBoost front-wheel drive. And the 2-liter EcoBoost, by the way, folks, it's been around, started to become used in great numbers in 2013. Gen 1 had a few problems in some very low percentages that were, of course, publicized. But those problems worked out by Gen 2. The 2-liter is not just a very powerful engine with 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque on a vehicle that weighs roughly 3,600 pounds. The power-to-weight ratio of a Ford Maverick is incredible. It's incredible. You know, Audi considers their 2-liter turbo engine as a premium motor. Same thing, you know, BMW, Mercedes. A 2-liter turbo with this type of power is a premium engine, and you're getting it in the Maverick, no charge. That's a fantastic deal. And I know there's a lot of hate on the internet going on. Howdy, Fiona Biscuit. I know there's a ton in Ridgeview. Thank you so much for always being our moderator and taking care of everyone in the chat. So We love you, man. So we've got the Maverick here with a fantastic engine that they charge big premium markup in price on the Escape. It's the standard engine when you're looking at the Lincoln Corsair and the Lincoln Nautilus. And you know what? In the Lincoln Nautilus, it's still a premium engine. So deal of the century is a Maverick EcoBoost, and only Ford customers, I think, are really jumping all over this. I've got Ford truck guys loving the idea of a 2-liter EcoBoost Tremor, just loving it because they see the great deal with that motor. But who's buying Mavericks? It's in the 60 percentile. It's between 60 and 70% of Maverick orders are coming from other manufacturers. These aren't traditional Ford clients, and I wish Ford would put traditional Ford clients' orders, build them faster, because what happens anyways often with people from other brands that I'm seeing, and this frustrates me, they order up a Maverick or two because they're from other brands, and sometimes they order from 4 different dealerships, and then 4 dealerships eventually call them up, your Maverick's in. Oh, well, I ended up getting a Toyota again. You guys took too long. Which there's wait lines at Toyota as well. Oh, I got a Honda. So long-term Ford clients are being shafted by these new people from other manufacturers who often don't wait out their order anyways. And that, folks, a little BS busting right now, that, folks, is why there's some inventory of Mavericks at some certain dealerships. It's often, in my experience, it's almost always people who have other brands who end up, they ordered a Maverick, and then in the end, they're like, I'm impatient, I'm going to buy a CRV or a Honda Civic. How are they related? I've seen a Maverick get canceled only once it shows up with a, oh, well, I bought a Honda Civic or a Subaru, whatever, 4 or 5 months ago. And it's like, okay, well, we made it really, really, really clear when you ordered. It was really important that you're fair with us and you let us know if you're going to cancel, because we're going to cancel your order so someone else can get their order. And the answer I always get is, oh, you guys are lucky to have it. It's, what? No, we're not lucky to have it because you wasted someone else's time. We might lose a long-term Ford client to another brand. Maybe they'll go buy GM for the rest of their lives.
A serious buyer. Yeah.
Because you broke your promise. So, folks, be a man or woman of your word. If you promise something, keep it. Like people who order a Maverick, who end up buying something else, help everyone else out. Cancel it as soon as you know you're not going to take it. Or if it comes in at dealer 1 and you ordered it at 2-3 dealers, cancel your others once you've worked everything out with your dealer, and you're clearly going to get the Maverick at MSRP price, and they're not going to add $5,000 or $10,000 to it, with the excuse of, well, you could just tomorrow go and sell it for an extra 10, so we're going to give you a deal and sell it for an extra 5 more than window. That's why you need your signed offer. So how would I build my Maverick? Well, here's a bit of an argument. I'd build a Tremor. I think a Tremor, a 2024 Ford Maverick Tremor, is incredible. You, on the other hand, would take another hybrid, I think. What would you do?
Yeah, definitely. I really love the hybrid. I'm sad to let my Maverick go, but because you ordered a Bronco and it came too soon, we had a choice to make. So it wasn't planned to get rid of the Maverick too soon.
Yeah, and because you don't pay the difference between a Maverick and a Bronco, which is a wild track, which should have shown up after, it should have been a year wait, but sometimes things go through the system quickly, and it just went through the system and in Canada, so...
So normally, I won't get rid of the Maverick. No. I wanted to keep it for 1 or 2 years or maybe more. We never know. And I fell in love with the hybrid. That's why I was hesitating for, 3 weeks to say yes to the Bronco. Because I was like, no, it's not an hybrid. I don't want to go on 100% fuel again.
Yeah.
But finally,
right. I
made the choice
really hesitate.
For you to help you have the Bronco.
And I offered you the Bronco at basically the same price as your Ford Maverick. So honestly,
you would help me pay for it. So
in the chat, that's a good deal. You guys can hate on me. It's okay. You can say, Johnny, you're such a jerk.
You have too much cars.
We're all waiting for a Maverick, and now you're selling yours, and it's okay. I am a bit of a jerk on this one, but I promised that I would take that Bronco. I told when that Bronco was ordered for me, there weren't any Broncos left in our waiting list. And the dealer was like, I was like, I still love Broncos. I'm going to have a Bronco again one day. And I was told, look, there's no one left on the waiting list other than people who want, a painted top. Basically, if they want the unexistent Bronco. So they're like, we've got no orders in the system. So we're just going to get inventory of, Big Ben. So if you want a Bronco and you're going to take it, we'll order it for you. And I said, well, yeah, my dream Bronco is a wild track with the green, eruption green. So I ordered it and I promised I'd take it. I said, I'm going to make things work on my end and I will take it. I got to keep my word. So I'm taking that Bronco. So the WB.
But I can keep my word because I won't take the Maverick for too long. Yeah.
Car pimp is I'll accept that. I'll take that. That's fair.
Jay says Johnny's the Bronco bully. I love that one.
Yeah, I'm pushing Bronco on her. Well, I wasn't gonna I wasn't gonna tell her we're selling your Maverick so I can have a Bronco and you're going to make the Bronco payment. I just said, it's your choice, hun, but you can have the Bronco at the same price as your Maverick. And in the comments, let me know if a Bronco Wild Track was the same price as a Maverick. Be honest here.
What would you do?
What would you do? Keep in mind, Maddie has she works 7 miles away from the house. So 7 miles to work, 7 miles
yeah, it's not that bad to don't have an hybrid.
Mabsim, you're getting me in trouble with, am I going to pay the difference in fuel? Well, I've actually gone as far as telling Marie that if she wants, she can make the Maverick payment on the Bronco. But if she doesn't like the putting gas in the Bronco, I said, look, if you want 1 week out of the month, you can take the Bronco because it takes 3 times more gas than the Maverick. And the other 3 weeks, you can have my Lightning and pay 0.
Yeah, and you liked before when we exchanged cars each week, so it's different to drive. So it's like creating an hybrid in 1 week fuel, 1 week 100% electric. So at final, it's an hybrid.
Yeah, 1 electric vehicle and 1 Bronco equals a hybrid. I love that. Very wise. So let's kick back into what I would ideally order. I'd ideally order a Tremor. I'd go 2-liter turbo, XLT. The thing has more chances of getting built. I'd be a new order. Marie, you'd get a hybrid and you just would wait it out. Mm-hmm. So that's fair. But everyone wants a hybrid. So let's build an XLT hybrid. I'm not building an XL hybrid, because I'm not going to build something that I know as a new order has next to no chance of getting built. Very, very, very small. You have to be really, really lucky. It's 20% of Ford's production for 2024. And there's a whole bunch of hybrid orders from 23 carrying over into 24. And a lot of those are XLs. So I think they're going to be mostly, I'd say at least 85% in my head, doing really rough, quick math, are going to the carryovers in the XL category. Now in the XLT, if you're day 1 or maybe day 2, tomorrow I think is your last chance. If you want a hybrid XLT, get to your dealer, order up, make sure they see OVP, get things signed, get your proof. Colors. What are the colors? Well, for XL this year, unless you're a fleet order, they've removed some colors, and we're not going to look at those. EcoBoost XL, still, I'd be a little worried because there's going to be carryovers in the XL EcoBoost, possibly, quite possibly. I'll know that once a little later on, unfortunately, but definitely I would foresee some XLs getting carryover. Now you've got black, you've got white, you've got the Cactus Gray. Cactus Gray looks amazing. It looks way better in person than it does here on the internet. So it's really worth checking out at a dealer. You can catch Ford Broncos in this color. You can catch, what else can we catch in Cactus Gray? Bronco Sport. Yeah, your dealer is probably going to have a Bronco Sport in this exact color. And that's the way to go. I think I need help again.
Oh,
okay.
You got it.
Wow. Did it all on my own. I'm a big boy now. So let's get back to colors. We've got the Cactus. we've got some colors missing, that's for sure. So no more cyber orange. We've got carbonized gray metallic. We've got this new terrain color.
I don't know if it will sell that much.
I think it looks awful on the internet, but I think just like cactus gray looked bad on the internet and looks amazing in person. I bet terrain's gonna look pretty darn good in this color. I did not invent a color. let's not just close my eyes on that one.
Not sure if people want to order that.
For a guy who doesn't swear, I'm not impressed with myself because I'll rarely swear if. Wow. Okay, you got Azure Gray Metallic at a cost of $495.
Almost the same as Area 51.
Hot Pepper Red Metallic Tinting Clear Coat. Another color that when it came to the Bronco, I was so disappointed that this was the color and they got rid of Ruby Red. And then I saw it in person, and again, this is a color that shines and looks great in real life, but you got to keep that color clean. If you're going to have a bit of dirt and dust or pollen on this color, it looks bad. Silver and gray are the best for dirt roads, areas with pine trees that give off an incredible amount of pollen. Don't park underneath a pine tree, folks. Advice to give you to save you a ton of trouble. If you do get it on, I'd take it off with Vaseline immediately, because if that pine sap dries, you're in big trouble. Good luck getting it off. And don't just put any product on your paint. Be very careful. Now, we also have Atlas Blue Metallic. Atlas Blue Metallic is a traditional Ford color. Heck, our 2011 F-150 with 300,000 clicks on it. Round up 3,000 clicks, to be very open and honest, but an amazing color. It looks great in person. That is a winner day in, day out. That's how I take my Ranger. If I didn't order the Ranger Raptor green, Ford, please don't send me that Ranger Raptor quickly. Please send that in like 12 months, because
take your time.
I can't even trade the Lightning right now, Ford. You're killing me. The Ford Lightning dropped $40,000 in wholesale value. Now I could sell it used myself for more than 72, but it's 110 Canadian and it's now worth 72 on the wholesale. That's a drop of 38,000 to be precise. That's awful. Ford, that's bad, and that has to do with Ford dropping the prices by up to 15,000 Canadian on the Lightning today. We'll talk about the American price drops, but in Canada, Platinum $15,000 less. These huge price drops, great for new owners, horrible for current owners in regards to resale. And this is why I've been against the idea of Ford having rebates. Don't do rebates. Just get the MSRP right and tell everyone we sell at MSRP, and what fluctuates throughout the year is, we go between 0% interest up to 5 or 6. You get the new vehicle, it comes out, it's a brand new model, there's a ton of excitement, way too much demand. Calm demand down by throwing a 7% interest rate on. Basically, act like the Fed with the economy, but with the agenda of wanting to help car sales or slow down car sales, not with some unknown agenda when they make moves that aren't really making sense, because the economy is crashing and they're raising interest rates. They're 12 months stuck in the past, and they're really going to put us in a whole lot of trouble. So I don't know why we all have to live with this Fed bank decisions. They're controlling the money and they're making the regular people pay for inflation. That's a different story for a different day. I would not take, in my area at least, I wouldn't take a front-wheel drive Maverick, but you would. The hybrid front-wheel drive, you had a good winter experience with it.
Yeah, for the quick winter I had with it.
No, but yeah, your tires, it was awful in that ice storm we had.
Yeah.
Your tire, well, awful. We still made it up 1 kilometer of hill at a decent, pretty steep hill with your hybrid on the standard tires, but they weren't safe for braking. We were sliding when it came to braking, and had we been braking down the hill, we would have never stopped. We would have just slid down the entire hill. But we also did a snowstorm with the dealer's demonstrator. Every dealer, it'd be great if they all had a demonstrator. It cost the dealer money, but it's good customer service. And we drove through a winter storm, towing.
Yeah, it was
1,500 pounds.
Towing, and we are on the hills, and yeah, it was
fantastic.
It was like nothing.
With great tires. Well, no, sorry. with very good tires, winter tires, it was fantastic. And those winter tires weren't even expensive tires. They're mid-price. They're very good mid-price tires.
Yeah.
So for resale, though, if I'm going with an EcoBoost, unless you're in a really hot area like Florida, California, but if you're, you know, if you're anywhere where that gets snow, and these days, heck, Texas can get snow, or if you're dealing with mud, Florida mud, Texas sand, if you want to go out in the, I'd get an all-wheel drive. It's
Or
worth
just
the money.
like the last weekend picking strawberry, we need to pass in the mud, and it was good to have great tires.
That's right. Those are BF Goodrich KO2s. They will take us anywhere. BF Goodrich, send me free tires. I'm always plugging you guys. You owe me. Give me tires on the Bronco. Throw tires at me. I'll continue to plug you either way. But be cool about it. I give you all sorts of free publicity. Now, let's talk transmission. Don't be fooled on the Ford Maverick transmission here. It says automatic, continuously variable transmission. Well, at least they're saying automatic, and they're putting an A in front of the C. But when I originally went for my Ford Maverick courses, they're just calling it a CVT. I'm like, you know, you guys are shooting yourselves in the foot. You're training all the salespeople to call the Ford Maverick transmission a CVT. Do you know how it works? And they're like, it's a CVT. And I'm like, no, it's not a CVT. And I was so frustrated because Ford pays people to train their salesmen at these events. They're not like, you know, full-time Ford employees. Usually they'll do like different brands. And anyways, the people that were taking care of this with the material they're giving out, it was saying CVT. This is an eCVT, not an ACVT. It is automated, an automatic, but it's an automatic electronic CVT. So essentially it's a planetary gear set. You got one big gear with big old metal teeth, and then other little gears to help sort of simulate gear shifting. It's not like your regular belt-driven or chain-driven CVT where you go up a hill, like our hill, that's 1.5 kilometers of going uphill. With a traditional CVT, it'd scream the whole way. And with a traditional CVT, if you're fast on the pedal, well, that puts a lot of torque to that belt or chain, and with time, it's going to wear it out. Also, huge. Also, if you tow with a CVT, going from, you know, when you take off of the vehicle and having that little bit of moment with it's just the weight of the vehicle and then the trailer kicks in, that also pulls on the belt of a CVT. I strongly dislike CVT transmissions. I really, really like this eCVT. I like how it feels. We don't go up hills at 4,000 or 5,000 RPM because it's a really, you know, a bad one speed. This is good at simulating and feeling like a regular transmission, and it's reliable. That's the big one, folks. The Honda CR-V in earlier on, 2015, 2016 and older, was in the top 3 for most reliable SUVs you could get. It was probably the best choice. And now it's not because it's running a CVT. So really important, eCVT. They need to make that clear. They should describe what it is. Rate. I'd love it if on information you'd click, and it's not going to happen. But why isn't it that we just click on the transmission and with details? I'd like to see a little video showing what the transmission is, showing it how it works, so we're all more knowledgeable. And if you really want to sell these Mavericks and help with people's confidence on the product, right, this is not a regular traditional CVT. Toyota basically uses the same transmission. Very, very similar, very, very reliable. So if you go down to the XLT and you're wondering what's in the XLT group, right here, you can always click on the little I here. So you've got XLT 300 equipment group. So at any time, you can click here on the I and you get a full description of what's in that group. Now, if you've zoomed in like crazy on your computer, you're not going to get a whole lot of description, but you can see that you're getting those 17-inch painted wheels, painted gray grille bar, the interior, the power glass, the outside mirrors being electric, the power locking tailgate, which is really nice, the security code, keyless entry, so the little code for going into the vehicle, and the flex bed with 1 rear cubby storage and 10 pickup box tie downs. Now, I almost feel like I need to go to the order guide. I'm not going to do that within this show, but for some reason I thought the security code was gone. So is that an order with a mistake with the internet, the building price? It could be. And this is why, just to make sure, you should always review the order guide. Now, if you also want all the features, you can go click down to, there's the boxes here, and they'll run you through all the features of the vehicle. So that's really how you can make sure you know what you're getting, even though it's an order. Because yes, it's tough. It is tough ordering a vehicle if you don't know or don't feel comfortable about what you're actually going to be getting. That's why it's fun to really jump into this. But if I were you, I'd print off right beside you an order guide. Maverick Truck Club, they share that proprietary confidential information, but it's useful anyways, so I'm still going to promote it. Get it from there, print it off, and then just look, and you can be like, okay, well, this is saying the XLT 300 package has this. Then you head over and read it all. It's going to take you 7 to 10 minutes maximum. Probably if you read just the XLT, you'll be done reading in about 3 minutes, and you'll know exactly what's on your XLT. And you won't get fooled into thinking you have to buy an appearance package or an XLT luxury package or a Ford Copilot 360 package. Of the packages, which one would you take, Marie?
The luxury package for sure. The one that I took on my Maverick.
Yeah.
Because with the heated seats, steering wheel that is heated, that's perfect for the winter. But I know if you're in Florida, maybe that's not your priority.
So for $2,275, you're getting your 8-way power driver and 6-way manual passenger seat. You want both electric seats up front, jump up to a Lariat. You're getting your 400 watt and 110 volt inverter, cab outlet with USB and rear console. So it's the rear console USB. The standard XLT has the USB up front for the two people in the front. You've got it just the same. Full size spare because it's the hybrid. Heated mirror on the outside. Body color skull caps, which I think that again is body color skull caps. I think that's an error again because I think they're black skull caps. Heated seats, leather wrapped heated steering wheel, LED box lighting, trailer hitch with 4-pin connector, and windshield wiper de-icer, which is true for Canada. But I checked the American order guide and the windshield wiper de-icer is gone from the order guide. So who's right? Probably the order guide. Who cheated on their homework? Probably the build and price people just converted the 23 and just typed out 2024. Build and price people, come on, get it together. Look at the order guide because the order guide is, I've never seen the order guide be wrong, but I've often seen the build and price be wrong. You're lucky I'm not your boss because people would be in trouble. I'd be replacing employees. You can't have something go public late. And you can't have something go public that's wrong because people depend on this. Tom Dinder, thank you for the Florida information. Love it. But
That's funny.
If you're on a build and price, you have to realize people are ordering these vehicles knowing they're going to wait for them. They've got to order the right package because quite possibly we won't be able to switch between trims without getting kicked back to the beginning of the line because body codes are now going by trim as well. So really important. Hopefully the build and price is corrected for tomorrow. Ford, don't ever hire me to, well, no, why not hire me to manage your employees? I was always very nice when I worked at the university and employees made mistakes. I was like, hey, it happens. Just don't ever make the same mistake twice. And I was always super lighthearted. And I was like, and I'd ask, what are you going to do next time so that this type of mistake doesn't get made again? What's your game plan? So I'd expect them to say, well, I'm not just going to convert 23 to 24 by only changing the date because I now realize that's silly. yeah, you shouldn't have been probably playing on your phone when you should have been building the building price. Anyways, I'm going to stop breaking backs because I've got a bad back, and I'm going to stop breaking people's backs, but I am disappointed that there is errors with this. Now, the black appearance package, if it interests you, what's it looking like here? Well, we saw it happen there. It's interesting. Oh, why is it going up $3,920? Anytime the price increases more than the initial price. So right here, it said $1,645. You click on it. Ford's really good at this. Most manufacturers won't tell you that they've kicked up the price more than what was shown. So huge kudos to Ford. You do this extremely well, and you're one of the rare manufacturers that treat your clients fairly when they're building it on the internet. The dirtiest ones, Jeep. Come on, Jeep, you're so dirty. Jeep building price, you click on something like, that only costs you $2 a week. That only costs you $10 a week. Of course, people are like, what's $10 a week? And they keep $10, $10, $10, and they end up spending $25,000 more on their Jeep than they would have. But in their head, they're just like, oh, I spent a bunch of $10. How dirty is that? Marie, how would you feel about that? You keep adding little $4 a week options, $2 a week options, but at the end,
It's way more than that.
it's like you've added, $60 a week, which is a huge amount per month, which is a huge amount per year. How
No,
would
it's
you?
not fun.
Not fun. Yeah.
I love to have the right price right now, not after too.
I feel that when manufacturers do that, I feel Jeep, their building price treats people, they're basically a bro at the bar being like, hey there, here's a free drink. That drink's not free. Don't accept free drinks from guys. Guys that buy free drinks, they're not, if they say they're oh, I'm just want to buy you a drink. No, they're not just wanting to buy you a drink. They're wanting more out of the situation. Well, same thing, Jeep. You're acting like, be honest with, tell people, here's your drink, here's your little equipment. It does cost $2 a week, but the true cost of that is, and then say it. Stop calculating everything on 84 or 96 months and saying it's $2 a week. Tell us it's $2,500 the option. So apparently, I guess I'm in a bad mood because I'm breaking backs everywhere. But why is this $3,920? Well, what's really cool is that anytime you can click on XLT luxury package, click the I here, and they're going to tell you exactly why the black appearance package costs so much. The black appearance package costs so much because you have to take the XLT luxury package. So that's why. Ford video guy, yes, thank you. Important bar tips with Johnny. Don't accept free drinks. There might be something in the drink, and there's probably an ulterior motive because they're probably treating you as an ends to a mean and not just as, wanting to get to know you. And on that note, The Sound of Freedom, Ridgeview watched it, and the media doesn't want to be talking about it, but I think sounds like it's really worth watching. We want to watch The Sound of Freedom, so I think everyone should watch The Sound of Freedom, because often if something is, true and actually useful and not just some dirty distraction, the media is not going to want to talk about it. They're going to want to talk about the Barbie movie. All we hear about is the Barbie movie. Heck, I was listening to the radio from the States, so it was New Hampshire radio, and someone was talking about on the radio, a call-in was saying he's going to go move his buddy because his buddy's being evacuated because his area is being over-flooded. Now, he's had a bit of flood damage, but he's not getting evacuated, so he's going to go help out his buddy. And the radio station response was, oh, well, that's really nice of you. So you're going to be at the new Barbie movie on Thursday, right? We'll see you there. And it's like, really? Really, Barbie movie is the huge distraction? So don't watch Barbie. Go watch The Sound of Freedom. We can all learn something about we should all be aware of the positive things of society and also the horrible aspects of society, so we can bring down the bad side and bring up the good. We can all encourage each other to be more ethical, protect each other, help each other out. Marie's kicked me under the table, so back to the building price.
Yeah, it will be a long building price if you continue like that.
Thank you. You're pregnant, and I got to get you in bed early enough, so we need to get these shows down to 1 hour.
We won't be there till midnight. No.
Now, you can also pick the Ford Copilot 360 package for $650. The XLT luxury package is $2,275. Now, if you go down and you're like, wow, I really like these black mags. Well, what happens when you click on the black mags? What's good? Ford's website right off tells you it's going to cost $3,920. If you're confused and you don't know what's going on, hit the eyes right here. They're going to tell you it's because if you want the black appearance package, you have to take the XLT package. All the accessories, don't take them. Order them from your dealer, or if you just want to help us out of the goodness of your heart, because you don't want us to continue to make only $20 a video. You can go on to our Amazon affiliate links. It'll cost, the stuff's gonna cost whatever you buy. If you go on click on a Maverick link and end up buying anything else on Amazon during your session, you're gonna pay the same regular price you would, but they're gonna send us a little percentage and it'll help us out. Now, all those accessories, you can look at them. It's great to have the pictures, but then go check out, order them right up from your parts department.
Look at them, be tempted, but don't touch it.
Well, that's basically how I did it with you. You're like, oh, what do you like on this list? And you're like, I really like that roll-up cover. I want to order it. I'm like, no, you can't have it. It's bad. Don't touch. Not on your order.
When the Maverick arrived, you you tried to sell me the most expensive. Although you sold me the most expensive.
Because I remembered you wanted it on your order. I said, no, you can't have it on your order. It could add months and months of delay or even kick you into the next year. So what did you do? I remembered, and when it showed up, I'm like, how about that roll-up cover? And you're like, no, I don't want to spend more. I'm like, hold on, you're a lease, and this is how much it's going to cost you per month. So if you keep it for 12 months, it's going to cost you a fourth of not even the $1,600, because good dealers, if you're on a lease, are going to residualize your accessories, meaning if the residual amount of the lease is 50%, that means you pay 50% of the vehicle in the 4 years. As an example here. So if they residual your parts, you only pay half of them, but you're buying out your lease, which means you're getting that. Well, had you kept it a year, it would have barely cost you more per month. And now I think it's helping you sell your Maverick.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have because it had a look. So yeah.
So you've got your interior photos here of the Maverick. We've shown it on the channel many times. But if you go with the navy Pierre, like Marie Pierre, well, that's like name. You. It's almost your name. You're Marie Pierre. This is navy Pierre. So navy Pierre or Pierre. Let's see here. It's gray and blue. If you want the black, you're going with the let us know. It's pretty cool. It's going to say, well, here's what's going to happen. So you're going to, let's see, black appearance package with, of course, your luxury package. Do I want to continue? No, because I'd personally build a Tremor package, EcoBoost. Marie, once again, would take her luxury package. You tell us. How do I build this, Marie? How do you want your Maverick? You're not going to get a 24 Maverick, but how would you take it?
Yeah, we could go with the Lux package, just to compare with mine.
Okay, so we've had the Lux package. We get the roll-up cover once it shows up. How have you found the power? It's been powerful?
Yeah, it's great. I have nothing bad to say.
It's cool in the morning driving away silently.
Yeah, and it's surprising because sometimes I'm on a little hill and I'm like, okay, it will be fuel, but no. Sometimes the Maverick go in electric mode even if it needs more power. So no, I know it's powerful.
Now, 60 months. Fantastic time period to pay something off if you can swing it, because you're less likely to be in a balloon, which an upside down an amount. If you want to trade it basically in 2-3 years, you're always in a better position the faster you pay off the vehicle, and you get affected less by this high interest rate, because the interest rate now is high. It's 7%, so the faster you can pay this off or the more cash you can throw down at the beginning, the better off you are. That's my advice for the day. So estimated selling price, $31,000. So You'd probably take it on purchase, $565 per month. But mind you, you wouldn't put cash down. So if you get rid of the cash down, then $628, I know you. You'd tell me what? It's too expensive. You don't want to pay $628. So you'd put it on 72 months at $541. Am I right?
Yeah,
Tell
and
me
I'm
I'm
happy
wrong.
you put it on monthly payment because you know I hate to have the price per week.
Yes, and weekly, everyone, it's like, oh, I can handle that weekly payment
Yeah.
because it makes you forget your other monthly
I'm old
payments, like the
school.
mortgage.
It's easier to calculate for me.
Yes, but pay your mortgage weekly just for, find out what it is monthly, but then tell them last minute, I want that weekly.
To
You're going to
cut the
save on,
interest.
to cut the interest on a house. So your base MSRP, $27,815. Your options, $2,275. That's the luxury package. Destination and charges thrown in at the end, $1,595 for $31,685. That is the cost of your XLT hybrid, folks. Now,
US, yeah.
can you write down the $31,685 US?
Yes.
Let's see how it compares to, I think, the greatest, and no one agrees with me on the internet, the greatest Maverick is an XLT. Like how it already looks, but all-wheel drive. Let's see here. Let's get this the way I take it. Advanced four-wheel drive. Hey, what's advanced four-wheel drive? Hit the little I at the end here. So you can see advanced four-wheel drive for $2,220. Hit the I. And of course, I can't go in there when I'm zoomed in for you all. But if I hit back here, hit the I, what are we getting? Oh, it's the Tremor off-road package. So yes, I want to add it. And then Ford's like, hey, we're not here to trick anyone. This isn't the Jeep building price. We're not going to tell you it's $2 a week and not tell you what we've added on, or $10 or $14 per week. It's $6,365. Tremor off-road package comes with the Ford Copilot 360 package. You click on that, and this is how I take it. So we've got it now. Hit up to the calculator. 8-speed automatic transmission, good transmission. So far, reliable. It's in the Escape. It's in the Lincoln Corsair. It's also used by the Lincoln Nautilus. I have a feeling if Ford's throwing it down on so many vehicles, including the Ford Edge, it must be reliable. So what do we end up with? $34,275.
275. Okay, so it's around $3,400 difference.
I'd pay the extra $3,400 to have something I can blow through the sand with, run through mud, have great fuel efficiency on the highway. For a truck, good city fuel efficiency. So I'd expect to get about 10 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, and on the highway, 7 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers. Ridge views in the house, and he's a pro with math, so if he's in the mood, he'll convert that into miles per gallon for us. So 10 liters per 100 kilometers in the city with the Tremor Maverick. And actually, this is geared a little different than your traditional EcoBoost all-wheel drive. So instead of 7, 8 on the highway, I definitely say 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway, and still 10 in the city. So still very, very fuel efficient. And the only thing that would keep me from not getting a Tremor is if I needed to pull more than 2,000 pounds. So otherwise, my other choice would be a 4K FX4. If I need to pull 4,000 pounds, I'd get the FX4 4K all-wheel drive 2024 Ford Maverick. Great. If you order this up day 1, day 2, day 3 of ordering. So this week, I think, as long as it doesn't sell out this week, but I'd say if it doesn't sell out this week in the States, you order up an EcoBoost, you're good. If you're a Canadian viewer, I'd say you've got this week, you've got next week. You probably easily have a month easily that you can order an EcoBoost as a new order and be fine. If you're a carryover anytime this month, and I'm sure it's not going to be sold out because Canadians are just less car crazy. We're more laid back, and I'll buy it if it's on the yard, and I hear it all day. It's like, hey, you got a Maverick in the yard for sale? It's like, no, okay, bye. Well, if you order one up, no, okay, bye. And they're different. They're not as car crazy.
Okay, Jim, Genoa said it's 23.52 per gallon.
23. Oh, that's the price of
the
the
price.
fuel.
Okay, sorry.
So I could do the really rough math, but I'm not going to, well, I am going to try here. So I'd say the EcoBoost Tremor gets about 34 miles per gallon on the highway and 35. And in the city, I'd say it gets probably between 20 to 20 miles per gallon, but I don't have Google on my phone beside me. I'm talking and I'm doing other things. Marie, if you feel like doing it, if M. Peugeot didn't do it, if you do the math, you can come back with us with that, what 10 liters per 100 kilometers is and what 8 liters per 100 kilometers is. You can just drop it into Google, folks, and you can always get that answer real quick. You just write liters per 100 kilometers, 2 miles per gallon. Google tells you the exact calculation. So that's the end of the Maverick show. Do you have anything you want to add before we head to some really important major news?
Yeah, I have a few quick questions that are interesting tonight about the Maverick. So the first one, Arcubo wants to know, will we have an all-wheel drive hybrid in 2025? Do we know it yet?
It's not confirmed, but I'd say it's very likely that we'll have either an all-wheel drive hybrid Maverick or a plug-in that at least gets announced in 25. Maybe it'll be a late 25 arrival, but I'd say it is very likely. So Darcy Struby, thank you so much for letting us know that 10 liters is 28.4 miles per gallon. Really appreciate the help.
Thank you.
I like to feel like we're all one community here, working to help each other out, because we all have an important piece of information. Whether we know it or not, we know something other people don't know. We all have something to share, and no one's ever going to get it right.
And thank you, Tom Dinder, to saying to people in the chat to smash the like button. It's really appreciated. Okay, next question, Mike Davison. Oh.
That's actually supposed to be your job. You're supposed, because I always forget to ask people to like and subscribe. You just cut me off. Say, hey, this little like and subscribe reminder. Johnny just said something useful, helpful, important.
Okay, another question from Mike Davison. He put a deposit for a 2023 Maverick EcoBoost all-wheel drive, on the end of June. Do we have a good chance to getting a 2023, or would it roll over to a 24, you think?
So if I understand correctly, you're telling me the Maverick was ordered. It's an EcoBoost all-wheel drive, ordered end of June. Okay, so you're not a carryover, so don't expect to get any special rebate for being a carryover, because you're a 2024 pre-order. Now, if your order does get put in, if you're in the States and it gets put in as an EcoBoost today or tomorrow or even the next day, I wouldn't worry at all. You will get it. The sooner it's put in, the better.
But it will have the chance to have a 2023?
Oh,
yeah,
no,
it's for
sorry.
2023.
I highly doubt it. In Canada, yes, because our EcoBoost did not sell out, oddly, as quickly. According to a fleet sale, it says it sold out in March, a fleet sale production and ordering information sheet. And I actually have someone in at my dealership that they said they made an order 3 months ago, and I think it was probably in March, and they're just calculating the months wrong, because we're all here thinking it's early June and it's actually mid-July. But I'm pretty sure, I bet he put his order in March, and it's an EcoBoost, and it jumped ahead. And all my 6 orders that I got scheduled last week are all EcoBoosts. So almost all my EcoBoosts are scheduled, except for the ones that are remaining are Tremors. And overall in my Mavericks, yeah, I've got a whole bunch of Mavericks that Maverick hybrids that have yet to be scheduled.
Another question, you were just talking about carryovers 1 minute ago. Corey MCC wants to know, what are the numbers of carryovers? Do you know for 2022?
I don't know what the official number for carryovers are, because remember, there's people who've ordered 2023s that are going to get emailed and called again, and they're just never going to answer, because they've gone off and bought a Honda CR-V. They've bought a Honda Pilot thinking that it is a very masculine looking vehicle and a great price and a great deal, and that's fine. We're all allowed to have opinions that aren't based on reality. That's what they are. There are opinions. So they don't have to be based on data or reality. And I joke. But picking on the Honda Ridgeline again, they look good now, but they used to really look like only Barbie would drive it.
Okay, Scott Eaton wants to know, will my heated wipers on my XLT Lux package being built in August
Yes.
be drop off build?
No, as long as you get a 23 build, you're fine. Remember, they're building 23s out until October 16th is the date I have so far. So if you get a build date, either already have one or are getting one soon, you're safe. You're getting the full 23 production, and you're a good man for not believing the build-in price, telling us that the luxury package has those wiper deicers. In the US, they are cut. In Canada, I've checked the Canadian order guide, and they are there. So Canadians, be thankful that Ford realizes that our weather is cold enough that you will die if you're outside in the middle of winter on certain days. You'll die within, 30 minutes. People used to freeze to death in Canada, and this is why they started taxing alcohol a tremendous amount, because they needed, a lot of us were alcoholics. It's true. It's historic fact, okay? We had a lot of Irish and other cultures that immigrated. I
know it's
I like alcohol. I have a problem with alcohol, and I'll blame the bit of Irish genes that are in there, the little bit of red that's in my beard. We'll blame that. But anyways, people used to come out of the bars of Montreal wasted. They'd get paid. They used to pay people weekly, and they even had to start paying people bi-weekly, because the problem is every week when they'd get paid, they would go out and drink on a Thursday night, miss work on Friday, spend all the grocery money, so Mrs. didn't get money that week, and sometimes people would pass out in the snowbank and either freeze to death or get picked up by the snowplow. There are people in Montreal that got turned into minced meat because the snowblowers and the snowplows either got hit with a snowplow or they got put in. Marie's giving me the kicks. We're on to the next subject, folks.
Yeah, just a last question about the Maverick. The WB said, I wonder if the resale of the 2022 and 2023 hybrids will rise again. What do you think about that?
That's a good question. Now, the new price of the 24 has gone up. So yeah, I do expect for now, while there's still really not very, very few on. Well, sorry. I think they're going to go down in the sense the new ones going way over MSRP. Don't accept that. That's slowly becoming a thing of the past, especially for F-150s and Lightnings, where there's a bunch available. But yes, if you've got a 22, I think your resale value just went up by $1,000 roughly.
Wow. And a last question, it's about the Bronco Sport for Tom Dinder. He said he was waiting to see if you have news of the 2024 Bronco Sport. Do you have news for him tonight, or we will need to wait?
I don't have news, and I don't have news on the 2024 Bronco either, but I am excited to share that news because I'm hoping...
As soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some mid-model changes. I'm hoping. We'll find out. We know for the Maverick, the mid-model refresh is 2025, but for the Bronco, I'm thinking we're gonna get our model changes. We did a predictive video a couple months ago.
With the Bronco Sport too?
With the Bronco, and the Bronco Sport, of course, should continue to follow the Bronco. So if you go back and watch that video where we talk about changes upcoming for the Bronco, well, I think it's going to be all the same for the Bronco Sport. I predict we're going to see slightly modified grills, slightly modified lights, maybe a little bit of differences on the paneling or on the hood, the sides, either the fenders or maybe the hood, just like they did with the Mustang. But I think it's going to be a lot like when we saw the 2017 Mustang turn into the 2018 Mustang. It's going to be minor differences. We're all going to complain. We're all going to say it's horrible. And most of us afterwards will be like, actually, yeah, I do really like the 2018 Mustang. I didn't like the 2018 Mustang when it came out. I saw it in person and fell in love. So, tonight, getting on to episode 2, and as a little standoff in between, a little break between episode 2 and, episode 1, let's just talk about a few important factors here. The Ford Bronco. One of the things that make it really awesome is its approach angle, its departure angle, and of course, what goes on in between the wheels, you've got good clearance there. So who has the best approach angle? Well, it's definitely not the TRD. You can see that front nose sticking out as much as mine. So that's a big front nose. You've got way too much booty in the back. So I guess this is probably what you and I should drive if we had a compromised vehicle.
That's sad. I loved that model before, but now that I see it next to a Jeep just underneath, yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, you don't love it because it's got a big booty?
No,
Okay.
It's sad because before I really loved the 4Runner.
I still do really like the 4Runner, but I think
But
you
when
got
we see it between
way
a
better
Bronco and a
angles
Jeep,
here.
Yeah.
Now, you've got the Jeep here, and the Jeep has a really good, it could have so much better approach angle. Let's zoom in on that. Look at that. This is ridiculous. You've got, before the bumper, you've got an incredible, look at that, incredibly small distance between the wheels and what could be one of the greatest approach angles. And then you got this big, dumb, ugly bumper. It's like they didn't put any budget
It's
for...
a snowplow.
It's a snowplow. They didn't put any budget towards making that, you know, because bumpers have to pass, sorry, Lily's hitting the camera. Bumpers have to pass safety tests. They have to meet certain requirements, but it's like they didn't put the budget in to make this small. So that kind of destroys your angles. You've got the back. The back on the Jeep's great. You see the distance here, end of the tire wall to the bumper. And it creates an angle there that I'm not going to measure out, but we can see that's a really nice departure angle. One of the things that I'm sad, well, the TRD is really sad because if you make a mistake, your bumper's ruined. If you make a mistake, your bumper's ruined. The Bronco, if you've got the option to take the modular bumper, if you make a mistake, who cares? It's full steel. That thing's super tough. The back's plastic. I'd like to see a full metal bumper option for 2024. So Ford, make it happen. Don't worry about so much about changing the grille, the lights, or the fenders. We love the style of the Bronco, but make the back bumper metal standard. It looks better, and it is better for off-road. Nothing like damaging and really expensive. Like one of these, the TRD is the worst. Let's zoom in. Horrible for off-roading because if you just crack down here, guess what? They're changing all of the bumper. And it's like a $3,000-$4,000 repair. This is all painted. It's all plastic. It's one piece. It's super expensive. It makes for insurances to cost more because the replacement is super expensive. And insurances, the reason you shop between company to company is because insurances base their prices on the cost, basically the money they've dished out to clients for that model. So if you build an off-road vehicle with a stupid bumper, and I say stupid because it's stupid to have advertise a vehicle for being off-road, but then have a $4,000 plastic bumper on it that requires really expensive painting. Bad idea, Toyota. And you don't have tow hooks, so poo-poo to Toyota. You don't know. You build a great off-road machine, and then you're like, how can we ruin this? And you ruin it. Now, the Jeep, I just don't like their 6-cylinder. Love their plug-in. Tons of torque. No budget on the front bumper. Shame on Jeep.
But anyway, I need to precise one thing. If you do off-road with your car and you scratch it, maybe the insurance won't pay because it's not a normal use. So anyway, but it will cost more in your pocket.
Appreciate that. Now, this vehicle is small. And who's going to fit in it? So next, now, if you can afford one of these, woo-wee, and I say woo-wee because some people are going to treat you like you're a redneck trying to kill everyone because, you know, the environment and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we all get brainwashed to a certain degree, but what can you do? These things are expensive either way, and if you think I'll get an electric version because the electric Hummer, if you think that thing is somehow good for the environment and is a zero emissions vehicle, you've been horribly brainwashed. Electric vehicles are far from being zero emissions because it takes a ton of emissions to create it. And I've got a slide that I never showed last week with Greta Thunberg, and it was in French anyways, but at least the image would explain the situation quite well. Remember, don't believe everything you get told. And here's a prime example. You've got, why not learn things from He-Man? You've got He-Man here saying, remember friends, they said income tax was only temporary. Historically, for World War II, they said we need to bring income tax along to fund the war. When the war's over, we're going to take it away. And we've paid income tax every year since. Just like it is a big crock, a big lie that electric vehicles are zero emissions. You have to calculate the pollution that goes into making the batteries and also the humanitarian costs, because often there's a form of slavery that goes into making the batteries. Now watch YouTube ban me and I get no views, but I'll just blame YouTube for my rants that nobody likes. So until next time, friends, He-Man's taken off because he's been speaking the truth, just like I'm here to speak the truth. Just like the food pyramid, yes, folks, you can't actually live off just steak. And I do worry that with future carbon taxing and digital currency, I do truly worry that we're slowly going to be priced out of steak. And
you really take the time to search that picture on the internet.
Well, I used to be on a farm, and throughout high school and college, I worked on a beef farm. And guess what? Beef farms, if it's not an industrial complex, beef farms are fantastic for the environment because the cows poop in the fields, the grass grows, and you're not tilling those fields. So you're not killing all sorts of small snakes, snails, worms, rodents, rabbits. You're leaving a habitat for foxes to live in, for birds to live in. So you're helping out the entire ecosystem by having fields that you grow up the hay to a high point and then you let the cows go in and naturally eat it, naturally fertilize it. It's fantastic for the environment. And this, my friends, is fantastic for your health because in the 70s and 80s, we're all lied to. We're all told sugar is good for you and fat is the thing that was causing people to become obese. And fat in beef and pork was blamed for everything.
And finally, is the sugar the bad person in it?
They always knew.
The bad guy.
It's that sugar costs nothing. And while the corporations, you've got Vanguard and BlackRock who own almost all the food production. So all your cereals and all your sugary foods, they're making billions, trillions off of it.
Yeah, starting morning with sugary
And they also own all the hospitals and all the health programs. They're making tons of money making us sick off sugar. They sell us sugar, it costs them nothing, and then we have all our money that we've worked our entire lives to collect and actually have, and we say, hey, we're going to retire and finally spend some money, buy a boat, have a great retirement, and you end up spending it all on your health. And what can you do when you're not healthy? So this is good. Vegetables that aren't covered in pesticides, they're also good. So I have a purpose to this rant because it ties into the Ford Maverick. I just wanted to say that the Ford Maverick is a very important vehicle. Now I'm looking for my notes here. Hopefully I can find them because I've got a few, I think, stats that are important to keep in mind. So an affordable truck is so important because from 2002 to 2022, salaries rose by 27%, while home prices increased by 148%. This is why getting a good deal on a truck and getting you all and saving you all thousands of dollars is so important to me. The cost of living has gone up a ridiculous amount. Now, the average person has a $60,000 car, roughly, we'll get to the real stats in a moment, but makes roughly $50,000 a year and has over $100,000 in student debt. So I think it's pretty wild that the whole notion that you pay to train yourself to maybe get a university job is ridiculous because most university jobs we get into huge debts to maybe get a university job, and there's way too much supply. There are way too many people with university degrees. I've got two. I've got a degree in philosophy and I've got a degree in history, liberal arts. I did all my courses for my philosophy. They don't want to give me the piece of paper because they want more money and more of my time, but I did all the courses. So that's another thing. They basically want you to pay. And then a lot of us can't get jobs in our actual field. What we really need is tradespeople and affordable vehicles. Affordable vehicles are so much because we're all paying to go get ourselves trained for jobs we may not get. So we're paying just to have hope. We're getting sold the idea if you have a university degree, your life is going to be incredible. And my life's pretty darn good because I've got you all here, and I don't work in my degree because my friends that work within their degree have horrible salaries. And I did a year of law school, and my friends who are lawyers have, for the number of hours they work, not great jobs. So, folks, we need to encourage young people to go into the trades. We desperately need tradesmen as the majority are around 50 to 60 years of age. Trade salaries, due to rareness, is going to explode. So the cost of hiring a tradesman to fix your home is going to explode. So figure out how to fix things yourself real soon if you're young enough. And if you're old enough, encourage your kids to go into the trades because the salaries for those are going to explode. Because for and this is an average across the trades, for every 14 tradespeople retiring, there will only be one person entering the workforce. There won't be enough useful people to keep our homes running and to build our society. So what can I say? Huge thank you. A huge, huge thank you to all the truck drivers, to all the plumbers, the electricians, people working, laying down the roads, brick workers.
All people who have trucks.
All people and all the jobs that women often don't want. These are almost all male-dominated positions, building society, having the sweat jobs at 100 degrees and over 100 degrees Fahrenheit with the humidity. These jobs that break your back, ruin your feet and hands, they're almost all done by jobs. So I truly believe that we also need to encourage women so that we can have, equality. We need to encourage women to go out and become, our daughters. If I have a daughter, I'm going to encourage her, become an electrician and then have a company, hire other electricians to work for you. That is what I'm going to encourage. And if you're in the trades, if you're a truck driver, thank you so very much for keeping society running. I think we forgot way too quickly from the last 3 years how these are the people that make it so society can exist. It's not Bitcoin traders that are making society exist. It's not so many useless or near useless invented professions to just steal money from people. I'm sorry, but I know you're a financial director in the past, and it's important to do the credit, but that's also a job that can be abused and take people money away from people. But banks, the whole healthcare system, these are systems made so that we work and break our backs so that then we can just go and give it all to the banks in interest rates. People, please, folks, if you're buying a vehicle, try to save up some cash. Try to have a trade that's clear. Pay it off as fast as you can. Don't give your money to the banks. And if you can, like I learned at a young age with the Monopoly game, don't just try to every week pass go and get your weekly paycheck working for someone else. If you can, have at least a hybrid system where you'll get paid depending on how hard you work. So sales is a good example of that. You're rewarded for your hard work. Or, have your own company, have your own trucking company. Once you've worked long enough as an electrician and you've learned from the previous generation and, you're maybe in your mid-30s or early 40s, start your own electrician or plumbing company. But we need these professions, and I thank you. If you're in the profession, a lot of people in these professions are older and could retire, and a lot of them aren't retiring, so they can continue to, take care of their customers. Now, episode 2, because I'm already cranked up and this is going to calm me down, then we'll call this episode 3, because I think that's almost its own episode. Episode 3, we're covering the lies here. Let's cover BS busters. Don't be fooled. We're talking Ford Maverick. We're talking Ford Bronco. The Ford Maverick and Ford Bronco did not get their prices raised so Ford could let dealers make more money. That's just not the case, and I'm going to explain to you why that's not the case, how that is very far from the truth in both intention and results. It's the opposite in when it comes to consequences or results. So what's going on? There's people on YouTube claiming that Ford raised their prices on the Ford Bronco and the Ford Maverick just so that dealers can make more money. Well, here are 3 easy things to know and remember so that you know that you're not going to get fooled with this incorrect information. They're either lies or just, incorrect. So Ford raised prices and dealer profit when sold at MSRP. So yes, it is a fact that Ford has raised their prices, and the lie is that now the dealers are making, way more profit, that they raised prices so dealers could make more. Well, that's not what's going on. That's not what Ford's price increase is about. It's completely wrong. So throw my notes on the ground. So Ford raised prices because, well, first of all, inflation has and the cost of materials have gone up. But if we go back to 2020 and 2021 on the F-150, the price barely rose. The MSRP barely rose, but the rebates slowly decreased. And then when there were no rebates left, then they increased MSRP slightly. So in 2022, I was still saying, great time to buy. Your trades are worth about, I was still saying about 35% more. Statistically, data-driven information, they were worth 43% more. Average trade was worth 43% more than its historic norm. So roughly $10,000 more, which is, I always said $10,000 more is always my example. A truck we would have paid $30,000 for, we're now paying $40,000 for. So yeah, let's remember that manufacturers outsource most of their parts. They assemble vehicles is what they're doing. And that's true for Ford, Volvo, that's true all around. Everyone is outsourcing their parts. And inflation has got the cost of materials and finished products to increase. So even windshield wiper motors, heck, the windshields themselves, door insulation, all that's everything. Mud flaps, mud guards, bed liners, it's all gone up. And that ends up being reflected in the end product. Now, when Ford had contracts to buy, 100,000 of X part across all the parts, they didn't raise the parts until they had to renegotiate contracts. And then, new contracts, the contract goes up, they pass that on to the customer. So this is what actually happens. When the price goes up and when demand finally starts to come down because the price has gone up, well, then what that means is dealers can't charge over MSRP, or they have to decrease MSRP. You see Jeep dealers, Ram dealers that are still trying to either charge over MSRP or have forced add-ons to their prices are starting to collect. Brandon from Car Questions Answered just recently did a lot walk at a Jeep dealer, and he was like, hey, last time I came here there were 3 Wagoneers and now there's 6. Why has the supply of available Wagoneers gone up? And he saw they're still trying to force $3,000 of bogus add-ons, so they're going to collect them. Eventually that dealer paying 7 to 10% floor plan, which is just a word for interest rates on what they have on their floor or parked in their parking lot, they're going to get tired of paying that 7 to 10%. They're going to wake up, get smart, and get rid of their fake fees. So that's how prices are going to come down. Ford's CFO, John Lawler, actually thinks that prices for Q2, he's saying that prices don't really need to come down because demand is still very good at Ford. But I suspect that prices are going to come down quite a bit in the sense that there won't be any more MSRP. Minus the Lightning fiasco. Great if you don't own a Lightning yet. Horrible if you already own one, but that's the next episode. So Ford raised their prices. Guess what, folks? Trades are still worth more. If you don't have a trade, I'd wait out a few months to buy a vehicle. So let's call this the episode, Should you buy a new vehicle now, a new or used vehicle now, or should you wait? If you don't have a trade, wait. If you do have a trade, used vehicles are going to crash in prices much more than new vehicles. If you want a vehicle in the next year, year and a half, go and get one now because the trade's worth more. The trades are going to be worth a lot less. The trades are going to be worth a lot less in a year and a half. So Ford raising prices actually makes it so that dealers can have less room because it calms down demand. They can't have these bogus charges. Or if they do, well, guess what? They just collect them, and that's their problem. You'll find another dealer that won't play games, and you'll get it at the right price. Prices have gotten better. Trades have still a good value to them. I highly, highly believe that trade values are going down. So if you don't have a trade, or your trade's worth $500 because it's 20 years old and super rusty, you could wait 2-3 months, but prices already have gone down in the new vehicles. And at Ford, F-150 right now this week, $4,000 off. Good time to buy. So I just wanted to bust that. That was part of my don't be fooled BS busters. Now,
Buzz butt.
That's not what I said. I hope not.
Yeah, it looks like that.
So now this is kind of its own episode here. So episode 3, I want to know in the comments section, who here is tired of the idea that EVs are much better for the environment? And because of this, well, we're all getting slowly forced into EVs. I personally don't like getting forced into anything, and I love my F-150 Lightning, and I don't want to be forced to buy electric vehicles in the future. How do you feel about the F-150 Lightning? Lily loves it. She's sticking her tongue out.
Yeah, I love that because it doesn't cost that much because the fuel now it's really expensive. It's powerful. It's maybe I love more the power than the savings on the fuel. And I know you love more the power too.
Yeah, the power is great. Here's the thing. When you go electric, if I go to the show, last week's show here in the notes, I don't have to worry. There's nothing illicit in this computer. I was asking myself what was the date last week. You know me so well that you're able to pick it out. So last week on the live, went through a lot of data, who's gone down, where you can get a great deal. Basically, Ram and Jeep should be giving away their vehicles because, well, they've got an issue with selling them. They're collecting them really horribly. We also covered the BS busted, the cyber orange. It's gone as a color on the Maverick, but we all know what that really was. That was school bus yellow. But we went out strawberry picking, and we love how do we get this going? Okay, thank you. So I'm sorry it's in French. But you got Greta over here screaming, saying that her childhood was robbed. She got robbed of her childhood. Well, that was her choice. She didn't have to go around screaming around the planet for, things that were only partially true. You've got people who are working in collecting cobalt, basically saying, sorry, Greta, we're sorry your childhood was ruined. We'll get to building your electric vehicle as soon as possible. Maybe this is politically incorrect to show, but it's the truth. The pits where cobalt is mined often have, 10,000 people in one pit. They're glued back to back. Apple, the cell phone companies don't want us to know this. The vehicle manufacturer companies don't want to know this. What I can say is, thank you, Ford, for trying to bring about batteries soon that don't use cobalt or nickel, or really reduce the cobalt and the nickel, and that you're really going to be focusing on having the batteries, the minerals, mined in Canada and the United States. That's good for national security, because if you forever in another major war, you don't want to be at war. And most of the African countries are going to side with China. That's just a fact. China has been pouring money into infrastructure, roads, schools, hospitals into Africa. They're buying out Africa. So obviously, it only makes sense if the African continent and African countries mostly would side with China. You don't want to be in a situation where, your machines of war have no capacity of, being built because you just get cut off from the supply of what's needed to actually build them. It's just common sense. So Ford, thank you. Now, someone here very happy towing, and this is a good realistic expectation of what's going on with F-150, and they're thrilled. They're like, hey, what are they pulling here? They've got a gooseneck set up on the Lightning. They're running 54 kilowatts an hour. So at 125 kilometers, they used 43% of their battery. So their expected range is about 260 kilometers. So about 170 miles. If you want to Google 260 kilometers in miles, you Google search right in the bar, it's going to give you the answer immediately. Marie, could you check that out? I'm curious to see if it's 170 miles. If you've got a guess, put it in the comments section. But that is interesting because that is a heavy horse trailer. And like my experience with the F-150 and 1,500 pounds in the bed, I only went down 2 inches. The truck was actually level. Now this is obviously probably more than 1,500 pounds in the bed because they are a little less than level. The nose is up just a little bit. If you want to just slide over.
Oops.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you, honey. All right.
What was the number again? I don't have memory tonight.
260 kilometers in miles.
Perfect. It's about 161.
About how many?
161 miles.
So I was 9 miles off, so you've lost all respect for me. Do you think you can still raise a child with me?
Yeah, it's not that bad here. We didn't speak in miles anyway. You're fine.
Okay. And the drink test. Oh,
we won't see it in the camera
can
now.
Almost hold the drink. So how to
much.
correctly produce plant-based meats. By the way, bone structure was better when we were a hunter-gatherer society than when we went over to agriculture. And now when we're going from agriculture to possibly in 10 to 15 years eating very little meat and mostly eating soy, tofu, and bugs, well, I bet it won't be great for, we're not built for that, folks. So back to an actual auto show. Does that sound good to you, Marie?
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm due to get back to an actual auto show here. Now, could you work out the next, get me back to the July 17th slides, please?
Yeah, is that the one that you're searching?
Yes, wow, you read my mind. Okay, so electric vehicles, let's talk about not just the F-150 price decreases. So episode 4, F-150 price decreases, which some are calling catastrophic. Some are saying Ford can't pay to get rid of these. That's not how I see this whatsoever. I think this is a very smart move by Ford to make sure that F-150 Lightnings don't collect in yards. But it's also great. It's fantastic if you haven't bought a Lightning yet, and it's awful if you've bought a Lightning and aren't going to keep it for 10 or 15 years, or at least 5 or 6 years. So I'm really thrilled that I leased, because right now I'm $38,000 upside down, meaning I paid $110 for my Lightning, and with these price decreases, it's causing the wholesale to be willing to pay me about $71,729. I've lost roughly a little over $38,000 in 6 months of ownership. At least it's not $10,000 a month thus far. So that's what's going on. We've got these major Ford prices being cut on the Lightning. We're going to be talking about, is this going to be consistent throughout all the models? What this means, what the results are. So the Pro model, the old price $59,974 down to $49,995, decrease in 16.64% in the price. That's a lot. Do you want to read through these while I get the rest of the show ready?
Yeah. So the XLT 311A, the old price is $64,000 roughly to almost $55,000. So it's 14.7% less. That's a lot. That's big numbers. That's a good decrease. New buyers will be lucky, but the old one like you will suffer. Yeah. The XLT 312A gone from 68,000 to almost 60,000. So it's a 12%. And the XLT extended range from the 312A, 78,000 to roughly 70, so it's around 11% decrease.
So it went from 78,800 to 69,995.
Yeah.
So down 11%.
But I'm happy to see that with the Lariat and the Platinum, the bigger model, it decreased a little bit less because this one will hurt, I guess. So the Lariat 510A, 76,000 to 70,000 roughly, 9%. And the Lariat extended range, around 86,000 to now 77,000. So it's
77,500.
Yeah, less
and
than
the Platinum
10%.
extended range 98,074 to 91,995. That's a decrease of 6%. In Canada, the Platinum's gone down $15,000. Why did Ford do this? Well, Ford did this because they don't want these vehicles collecting on yards, causing dealers to pay interest, maybe getting dealers to be reluctant about joining the Ford plan. Because remember, if you want to sell electric vehicles in 2024 as a Ford dealer, you're going to need to put in, I believe it's 2 fast chargers. It's a minimum. You have other chargers that you have to put in as well, but you're going to have at least 2 fast chargers available 24/7. This is going to make the Ford network for charging absolutely incredible. And it's amazing. Ford figured out how to make the dealers pay for it. It's about 1.2 US or 1.5 Canadian dollars per dealer. So smart, Ford. If you're Ford stock, come on. I bought Ford stock because I'm like, wow, a business that can make force other businesses to pay millions on vehicles they might pay a whole lot of interest on, just the same, because they were starting to collect these. How smart of Ford. So I like the idea of buying Ford stock right now. Jim Farley, I think, is really, really, really smart. People are always saying that Elon Musk is a genius. Well, this is a genius move. Get dealers to pay, but in fairness, it's not just a one-way street. Jim Farley has also had drop these prices, which is good because dealers do not want to collect, what is this? And basically $100,000 Platinum F-150, dealers don't want to pay 10% interest on that. In the past, we'd often have F-150s that would sit around for, 8, 9, 10 months. But they were $50,000 pickups. So the interest on them, with interest rates that were way lower, was so much less than what it is today. So thankfully, Ford, for dealers, forcing them to put in chargers as consumers, buyers, lovers of vehicles, we're all going to benefit. Genius move, but they have dropped the prices on it so we don't collect them because we already had a collection of them. And as it is, Ford's pulled a recall, and the recall that they've put on could have vehicles, F-150 Lightnings, not all of them, but some of them, sit on lots for months. Can't even deliver it to the person that ordered it. So I bet the dealer is going to pay interest on that. So anyways, when we talk about Ford price increases or decreases, I want everyone to know that, the Maverick went up in price and the dealer profit margins did not go up. And it actually makes it so it's a whole lot harder to sell overprice because less people get interested in a product as the price goes up. That's sort of what they're, the Fed, the Federal Reserve, is hoping that with prices increase, they thought, well, naturally there's inflation, people will stop spending. And they didn't stop spending. So then they didn't understand human psychology. Prices went up. They should have known human psychology. We wanted things. We were locked up for 2 years. We wanted to spend money. We wanted to have fun, and we had a bit of savings spent up. So generally we're going to spend money no matter what. So then they increased interest rates. And people continued buying stuff. So the Federal Reserve, not thinking of human psychology, not being psychologists or philosophers, just basically said, well, we're going to look at like a bunch of nerds. Let's look at only the data and only consider, one aspect. They looked at the data and say, hey, our interest rate increases haven't caused people to stop spending yet. So then they had the bright idea to continue and continue and continue to increase interest rates. And really, we just hadn't gotten the being pent up and forced into doing nothing for 2 years. We hadn't gotten that crappy situation out of our systems. So we're still in a spending mood. But now we're not in a spending mood anymore. Things are slowing down. And the Federal Reserve, Canada and the US, are continuing to increase interest rates, even though signs are saying that the economy is slowing. And if these people were people, they'd call up construction companies and say, how are your contracts going? And generally it's not, I'm booked for the next year and a half. Many construction companies were booked for 1 to 2 years. And even though there's a huge shortage in the trades, the demand, they're not booked out nearly as far out anymore. And that worries me. Interest rate increases, which is just when they increase interest rates, they're making us pay for the fact that they printed out money, the whole group of, bankers and governments. And not only are we paying for what they did, now we're really going to pay, because if they don't bring down these interest rates soon, repos are going to go up. They're really going to go up. And that's one topic I wanted to cover. Repos is what we're covering on the last part of this episode, and Marie's going to give repo tips, and that's how we're going to conclude the last 10 minutes of the show. But I just quickly want to point out that electric vehicles, we don't want to be forced these vehicles. I'm tired of them being, and I think we should all be tired of them being called zero-emission vehicles. The F-150, we love it. It's an amazing vehicle. It's the fastest vehicle we've ever had, and we've had a lot of fast vehicles. It's unbelievably comfortable, but it's not zero emissions. It's 131 kilowatt battery, and we use hydroelectricity here. Recharging the battery on our vehicles truly isn't causing the damage to the environment has already been done. So it is like free electricity, essentially, like a harmless electricity. Now that the harm's done, it's done. But the 131 kilowatt battery in a Lightning, or even worse, the Hummer EV, is horrible for the environment. They destroyed, 230 kilowatts, destroyed the environment, a bit of essentially almost human enslavement to get all the materials for that. And for what? To call it a zero emissions vehicle? I don't understand why there's a push to these vehicles when the batteries are going to last roughly 15 to 20 years. So for many, many, many parts of the world, that creating this vehicle, the overall pollution for creating these electric vehicles will be worse than just buying your Ford Maverick hybrid. Small battery, 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers, let's say on average getting about 43 to 45 miles per gallon, is so much better for the environment than these all electrics. But CAFE rules, government rules, don't hate Ford because they're going for an electric push. Don't hate Dodge for getting rid of the V8 and doing an electric push. Government rules, the CAFE rules, basically if you don't have a 50 mile per gallon fleet average, you get taxed by the government. So government laws are forcing these electric vehicles on us, and they're not good for the environment. So I don't understand why. I haven't figured out fully yet. I've got inklings to why we're being pushed electric vehicles. Income tax was supposed to be just for World War II. It was promised to be temporary. And was income tax temporary? No. So do governments always act in the best interest of regular people? Absolutely not. We get pushed sugar just so that we can work our whole lives. And when it comes to retirement, all our money goes into paying the hospital and not having good health and not having as long of a life as we should, because we got told sugar was fine for us our whole life. So governments aren't out for your best interest. I don't think when they're pushing us electric vehicles, I think electric vehicles are a bit of the sugar high they're like the sugar high in the sweets that we get convinced are good for us, when really the only people that are profiting from that are major corporations. And really BlackRock and Vanguard literally own, because they own stocks and majority stocks, so they're the owners of all the food companies, they're the owners of hospitals, they're the ones benefiting. And who who works? Governments work for the people that pay them. And who do governments work for? The corporations. They work for BlackRock and Vanguard because all their sponsorship money, how do you get elected to be a politician? You collect money. That's what runs your campaign. Who's giving the money? It's not us. We're insignificant, people who are paying into the political system as actual people. The money almost all comes from corporate donations. It's not directly given. You have to give it to a third party that then gives it to the political party. But things are going to continue to be unbelievably messed up and bad for regular people until we make it illegal for corporations to have any of their money go anywhere near our elected officials. Because otherwise, it's the corporations that are electing them. So we're going to be continued to be told that meat is bad for us. Eggs, according to the new food pyramid, is bad for us. And guess what's considered really good for us? Cereal, just pure sugar. Apparently cereal is super healthy and way healthier than eggs.
I'm not sure.
You've got a baby in your stomach. What do you think's better to eat? Cereal or eggs? That's right.
Definitely.
Since you've been pregnant.
Because the cereal, it's rare that you have really good cereal and it costs a lot. So people just bought sugar cereal.
Even if you don't get sugar cereal, it's made from wheat and the wheat has pesticides on it. So you only started eating eggs once you were pregnant. She's like, yeah, I got to do the responsible thing. So that's my...
And because I'm more hungry now. Yeah.
Yeah, so electric vehicles to lessen climate change is a load of crap. I love electric vehicles. I'm so happy I can choose to have one. I don't want to be forced one. But when it comes down to it, when you think about all the pesticides that government's allowed on our bread, our food, our fruits, our vegetables, and pesticides are all over them, horrible for our health. When you think of the stop signs in locations that make no sense, that's pollution from braking, brake dust. They never talk about brake dust pollution. Brake dust pollution is horrible. They don't do anything about it. They don't do anything about jets, private jets. They go up in the sky for 50 minutes. They use a year's fuel for your average American. What an average American uses in fuel in their vehicle for 1 year, a jet, private jet carrying 1 or 2 people, 1 businessman, 50 minutes, it's a year. And do they do anything about trying to control people's private jet use? No, you've got YouTubers going on a private jet every single day. Yay for them, but horrible for the environment. Government's not doing anything, so I don't want to be forced an electric vehicle. That's my rant. I'm going to move on. I'm sorry, everyone, that you had to deal with me. Recalls at Ford. So Ford is number 1 in recalls. And I just want to cover this week the recalls that came across my desk. Is we've got a demonstration delivery hold. It's a safety recall, 22S74. The full bulletin is for the 2017-2018 model year Super Duty vehicles equipped with a 6.2 liter and 6.7 liter engines, 4x4 with the 176-inch. So that would be the 8-foot box setup. Well, there's a demonstration delivery hold on some of those. Also, it's called a demonstration delivery hold for the model year Police Interceptor utility vehicles equipped with a 12.1-inch integrated computer screen. It needs a software update. Can't deliver them. So remember, folks, your recalls, if you got a company that's number 1 in recalls, it doesn't mean the company is bad necessarily and that you should avoid them necessarily. Because Tom Dinder, thank you for that comment. That's fantastic. Because sometimes the vehicle got a recall just because the 12.1-inch integrated computer screen needs a software update. That's like, okay, they're not doing recalls because the clock and the time is incorrect in the vehicle. But some of these recalls are as silly and insignificant as having the wrong time in the vehicle for the time zone that the vehicle is sold in. Now, scheduling at Ford. So if you want to write this down, this is an actual episode.
Yeah.
So quick scheduling at Ford. We've got the 23 Ford Bronco scheduling this week. Bronco Sport, that's the 23 model, scheduling this week. 24 model year Edge. Yes, there's a 24 Edge. Thought it might disappear. It's scheduling this week. 23 Escape, 24 Expedition, 23 Explorer, 2023 F-150, 2023 Mach-E, Maverick. So Maverick scheduling this week, folks. Great news. 24 Medium Truck, 2024 Mustang, 2024 Ranger, not the Raptor. That was last week. This week, we've got the 24 model year Ranger, 2023 model year Super Duty, 2023 model year Transit. And in the Lincoln, you've got the Aviator, Corsair, Nautilus, all 2023, as well as the 24 model year Nautilus and the 2024 model year Navigator. Isn't that weird? A week where they're going to be building 2023s and 2024s. Guess what? Different factory. That's why.
Yeah, because I guess it doesn't happen that much often.
You don't see that every day. That is for sure. Now, let's get back to a beautiful slide. This week, my Bronco's supposed to come in.
Color.
But guess what? The Montreal, and I bet we're not the only we've got transport issues. Montreal, it's got close. Thousands of vehicle it's so close. It's at the Montreal train yard, and it could stay there who knows how long, because they've got thousands of vehicles. Now, we have made, thank you to WB, we have made a special request for them to bring it down, but the transport companies were even like, these days, don't bother calling us. There's thousands of vehicles. We'll do what we can, but...
That's sad because it's close. We could just go search it, but we cannot do that like that.
Yeah.
Need to wait.
Canadian MSRP changes for the Lightning Pro. $15,000 off the Lightning Pro in Canada, and you can actually order one now. Lightning XLT standard range, $10,000 off. Lightning XLT extended range, $10,000 off. Lightning Lariat 510, $10,000 off. Lightning Lariat 511A, $9,000 off. And Lightning Platinum, $6,000 off. I don't know why I said $15,000 off earlier, so that's why I need to jump in and correct that. I do not like it when I make mistakes, but that was my memory. That's usually my memory is really good for facts and data. So, I said I'd end the show on the note about repos.
Yeah.
Because repos are really bad these days, and that's why I'm a bit on an extreme rant this week. Repos are really, really bad. According to Bloomberg, Americans fall behind on car payments at a higher rate than in 2009. So this is a new episode. So I'm not sure if you marked the time, but I want to make it easier for when you edit. So repos are at one of the all-time highs. So Brandon from Car Questions Answered did a great job covering all those repoed vehicles at the auction house. He very adequately did a great job pointing out that a lot of those are Dodge Chargers and Dodge Challengers.
Oh.
He thought he commented that, it's a lot of the toys that are getting repoed. I'd say it's a bit of a Dodge thing.
No, it's a toy too, I guess, because that's the kind of car that you want to buy, even if maybe you shouldn't, and
yeah, it's
borderline for your
often,
financial.
It's irresponsible people. I'm sorry, but in New Jersey, every year we almost die, and it's like, that Charger almost killed us. Oh, that Challenger almost killed us. And it's a joke. It's like, what colors of Challengers and Chargers will try to kill us this year? Because they're going...
But we're lucky. It's
200 miles per hour.
Often it's...
150 miles per hour.
A bright yellow or bright green. So we see it a lot. So
obviously, we're not telling stories here when we say the colors at the same time. But yeah, there are... really bad.
But it's flash, so we see it.
It's as ridiculous as Lily's obsession with licking my arm during these lives. So thank you for picking up on my cue, honey. But yeah, repos are up. Brandon from Car Questions Answered did a great job covering live at the auction houses how there's so many of these now. I love data. So what I think is really interesting is why I felt like, hey, it's a Dodge thing, all these repos. Guess what the number one repossessed truck is? It's the F-150. F-150 is the number one repossessed. I know that is such a. I love that you said that, because that is such a YouTube thumbnail response. F-150 prices have increased so much that they're the number one repossessed truck. I think that's going to be the thumbnail for this episode. And the fact is that it's the number one sold truck. So naturally, it is going to be the most. And it's good. Your brain worked on the natural, how we've evolved, an emotional response. You had the right evolutionary response to that. And that's what the thumbnails where people get paid $20,000 to get a million views and say something that's wrong, well, that's the type of thumbnail
So I
that
could
would
start
be
a
there.
channel because I know how to do it.
If you start a channel, I will cook and clean. I bet you'll make, $500,000 a year, and I'll just cook and clean for you, honey.
Yeah, with thumbnails like that, maybe I will do a good pay.
So the repo situation shows how bad things are, folks. Things are really bad, and we've got it by actual statistics here. We're going to talk about the main ones. So in December 2022, people being 60 days or more behind on their car payments hit 5.6%. So that doesn't mean they're repossessed yet. It means 1 out of 20 people, 1 out of 19 and a quarter people are in a position where they could get repossessed. So Marie's going to cover 6 tips on what you can do to not get repossessed, string them along. So if it kind of like being at the bar, if you take the free drinks because you saw them actually get made, maybe you can string them along, get free drinks, but make sure your girlfriends are good girlfriends, which usually ladies don't have good girlfriends. But make sure you're with good people that will take care of you and make sure that you get home safely. Now, the average monthly payment for a new car is up 26% since 2019 to $718 per month. Also why I've been so obsessed with the Ford Maverick. I think everyone needed to jump, and we all need a Ford Maverick. It makes sense. We can't have people having $50,000 a year jobs, and actually it's $43,000 a year is the US average to be precise, is the US average for salaries. But they have basically, 50 some, almost $60,000 vehicles on average with $100,000 of student debt. Tom Dinder, I do need to start my cooking and cleaning show. If Marie starts a YouTube channel with her emotional responses and non-data driven analysis, she'll make millions of views per video.
You don't want to see him cook. It's a messy kitchen after that.
It's messy and it's a shirtless affair. So
maybe you will have a lot of views because
I don't think so. All my viewers are men, honey. It'll be horrible. So the average auto loan term will go from 12,400 subscribers to like 3. So the average auto loan term is 69.7 months for new cars and 68.1 months for used cars and 35.9 months for leased vehicles. So that's the average auto loan term. Being 69 months is almost 6 years for new. Used also basically generally on average 6 years. And for leased vehicles, most people are either leasing 3 or 4 years, and that's why you get, they're leasing more towards the 3 years. GM does these 2-year promotions for leasing their trucks, but then at the end, they're way upside down. You don't want to buy that vehicle back, and you do not want to be trading it in early because you will lose out. My Lightning, what's great, it's worth so much less now. I've lost $38,000, but I'm on a lease. So at worst, I can hand the keys back to Ford. And if that thing is worth less than the buyback at the end, let's say it's worth $20,000 less than the buyback. That means I saved $20,000 because if I was on a purchase trying to trade in 4 years, means I'd lose $20,000. It also means I saved $20,000 in payments. I should have paid it more, but the depreciation was greater than the payments. That's why I love leasing. Also easier to get out of. So also repossession advice. If you're not quite making your terms on a lease and you've got a 4-year lease, but you're at maybe 3 years, well, the dealership might owe you money to buy out your lease. And if you're on an 84-month purchase, they'll be like, yeah, you want to return your vehicle? Give us $10,000 and you're clear. Or if they're really nasty, they'll say, oh, just give us the keys and your vehicle has been returned. That's going to basically count like a bankruptcy. You're not going to be able to get loans or credit cards for 7 years. Your life's ruined for 7 years. You got to build back up, but at a slower rate than when you're 18 years old, get out and with your first job. My first job, I was 13, but hey, we're not all built the same way. Now, we don't all have the same parents. My dad was born in the 40s. Auto loans average almost $42,000 for new vehicles. So the average auto loan being almost $42,000. That's a lot. That's why we need to get the prices down. We need to get Mavericks in people's yards. Honda Civics, if they can live with a Honda Civic. We need a bed and we need to be able to tow. Like a lot of Americans and Canadians. Now, around 81.4 million individual American adults have a car loan. So that's because baby boomers are paying cash. Now, important to know here, car payments rose by 13.3% for new vehicles and 12.1% for leased vehicles just last year. Just last year. Monthly average payments are over $700 now, and 1 in 6 buyers has a vehicle that's costing them more than $1,000 per month. My financial advice is, if you have a lot of money left over every month and you've put, money away into your retirement fund, or buying apartment buildings or houses that you can lease, and you have leftover money, have $1,000 payment. Why not? Why not go for it? But it can't be half of what you make, half of what you clear after taxes and healthcare at the end of the month. It's not good financially. You need to get yourself set up for the future. So in May 2021, people who were, subprime borrowers who are more than 60 days behind, so people with not the best credit, it was at a 7-year low. Only 2.58% people were down, and now it's gone way up. So cars are costing way more. We've covered that in the data here. About 5% of consumers who financed a car are now paying over $1,000 a month. That is wild, 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 wild. And please, if you're looking at a new or used vehicle that's more than 10%, don't buy it. Don't go for 10% interest. You're going to end up spending so much more. You're almost going to be paying that vehicle over twice if you pay that on 84 months. So let's get down to repossession statistics. Along with car loans increasing, repossessions have also increased. So car loans going up, repossessions going up, but repossessions are higher than they were in 2009. Repossession companies have shrunk by 30%, but that's just businesses are generally also getting bigger, fewer but bigger, cutting out the middle class out of a lot of business owning, which is unfortunate. Having a business is fantastic for wealth generation that you can pass on to generation. And, well, Cox Automotive, they're predicting that in the long term through 2025, repossessions will remain at or below historical norms. So we're in an uptick right now, and the reason for that is we're going to see interest rates. The Federal Reserve, which I bagged on tonight, they're going to correct this. They're going to completely crash the economy for a very short period of time. Then they're going to want to come in and act like they're saving us all, even though they crashed the economy. They're going to act like they're saving us. Well, not at first, obviously. They're not going to show their cards, but they'll reduce interest rates. And then when the economy gets better, they're going to say, look, we got you through that other period. That was real bad in 21, 22. And, we saved us all from inflation by increasing interest rates, meaning they're just stealing our money legally. And then when they crash the economy, they're going to slowly bring the interest rates down when they should just drop them right down by 3% right off the bat and stop the bleeding. But they're going to slowly drop down the interest rates. And then after a 1.5 year period, they're going to go, hey, we fixed everything. Aren't you guys lucky to have us? I'd rather a free market and just let things naturally occur. But anyways, that's not how things work. You've got groups that give out the money, decide on the interest rates, destroy our economy, rebuild it, destroy the economy, rebuild it, because with all those ups and downs, they're making money. They're making money at the top, they're making money on the bottom. When you know when to sell your stocks, when they're worth a lot, and then you crash it 6 months later and you buy back, and then you have them slowly build up over a year, 1.5 years, and then you crash them over for a 6-month, 12-month period, and you just continuously buy and sell at the right time. You get to increase your wealth by 30% every year and a half, year and a half. And that's the new norm. The new norm, we're not on a 10-year economic cycle because the wealthy got tired of only making a lot of money every 10 years from buying and selling. Well, now they're buying and selling on these peaks every roughly 12 months. 12 months, year and a half. So I expect a real crash in the next 6 months. And I'm talking about this because, well, car prices are going to go down in the used tremendously. House prices are going to go down and have been going down because the interest rates are too high. But watch out. This is going to get people to sell their homes. This is going to get people to sell their apartment buildings, which is a form of business, their rental homes, their rental cottages, the apartments. Corporations are going to buy these up at $1. They're going to save the pennies on $1. They're going to save, they'll bring down the housing market by 20-30%. They're all going to buy at a great deal, these corporations. And then when the interest rates go down, the result is not only are they going to regain the 30%, that 20 to 30% that was lost, but they're going to get another 10 or 15 on top of that. So they're going to win on both ends. They're going to win at the top and they're going to win at the bottom. So right now, I'm looking at buying an apartment building or multi-doors because the prices are low. I'm going to survive 6 to 12 months of bad economy, bad stock values, really high interest rates. And then I expect things to be better by, at worst, 2 years from now. But I think in a year and a half, house prices will have re-exploded, or be in the process, at least, of re-exploding. 12 months to a year and a half, incredible house values. Probably another 6 to max 12 months of house prices going down. So I want to share that with everyone. Now, Marie, what are your tips for avoiding getting repoed, whether your house gets repossessed or your car gets repossessed? Let your car get repossessed before you're actually, you didn't hear it from me, but I would always pay my house and always pay my vehicle and avoid paying for things like restaurants, avoid paying for things like anything off Amazon, avoid paying my credit cards if I have to, avoid paying my phone bill if I have to. Phone bill starting to get more on the serious side, but I would make most of my car payments and most of my house payments. If I was in trouble, I would never want my house to be repossessed, and I never want my car to get repossessed because they count as bankruptcies essentially. How it affects your credit score, it's just like you had a bankruptcy in regards to credit score. You're in real trouble for 7 years, but string them along. I'll let you get to the tips.
Perfect. So 6 ways to avoid a car repossession. So it will help you to keep your car. The first one is to review the term of your contract, especially check to see if your lender has an installment postponement, sorry for the word, policy. This could help you out and buy you sometimes. And we said you can also check the clause related to late payment penalty. It varies with each provinces, so you need to check that. And the second one, the best one, I guess, make the missed payment.
That's kind of an ideal situation.
If you pay, you will be able to continue after.
I like the negotiate your payment, because when you call them up and defer payments, that's great because you've made a contract with them. So the effect on your credit score isn't nearly as bad. And more importantly, they're not going to repossess you if they've worked it out. They say, okay, well, for the next 12 months, make 1 out of 2 payments. Just an example. But if it's an agreement you made with them, they're not going to repossess you in the next 12 months. Guess what? They don't want to take your car back. Used car values, they know are about to drop. They know they already have dropped. They know that maybe you bought your used or new vehicle at over the actual value. So maybe you bought your new vehicle $10,000 over MSRP, or you bought a used vehicle for 35-40% more than historic norms. These historic high prices are coming down. They dropped 4% from June to July. They don't want your vehicle back. But they're going to take it back if you don't talk with them. And most people get really surprised. Brandon in Car Questions answered. He said at the auction house, a lot of these repossessed vehicles have full tanks of gas, which means the people didn't expect. And he's right. That means psychological level, they did not expect that vehicle to get repossessed. This isn't, okay, ignoring the bank is just like ignoring a boyfriend or a girlfriend. If you don't, but guys, our needs are different. We're more physical creatures. Communicate. Anyways, I love communication. So let's not making any stereotypical assumptions here. But if you ignore your girlfriend or boyfriend, what's going to happen? It might be fine for a little bit and then it's going to explode. Same thing for your bank. Ignore your bank, it's going to explode. They're going to come get the vehicle. They're going to be ticked off. Those are the people they go after. They don't go after the people that are trying to work things out. Say, oh, I can make this payment. Oh, hey, by the way, I can make this week's payment and that other one of the 4 payments that I missed, I can go back and now make. But make an agreement with them. They might work out a new interest rate. They might work out a new payment. They might put it on longer payments so you pay less per month. They might say, you know, we give you a break for 1 month, but then that's not always the greatest because sometimes we get tempted to buy other stuff or go on a vacation or, you know.
And it goes well with the third point, make temporary arrangements. So they said, if you know before that you will miss a payment in the future, call them, check with them if you can have an arrangement, change your date of payment. So it could be the best way because then they have news from you. They know that you care to don't miss a payment, so it could help you. It's in your favor. So that one is it's a good thing. The number 4, refinancing your loan. So if you miss a lot of payments, is it possible to refinance the loan? That's the only thing that you could check. The number 5, I don't love it that much. Try to do the first 4. 5 is the consumer proposal, so it's before a bankruptcy. It's less than that, but it's not the right way.
It's going to ruin for years. Everyone, a lot of the agencies that are going to take care of you are going to say, hey, look, they're going to act like superheroes. We're not going to do a bankruptcy. We're going to save you here. We're going to do a proposal, a consumer proposal. And guess what? Your credit is affected. I've seen the credit scores. They're affected just like a bankruptcy, and you're going to be affected for years to come just the same. So I really don't like that one. I think it's a big misconception, and you know, to save you thousands, it's going to save you thousands because avoiding that one, that's the one where your next loan, they're going to say, oh, your auto loan, sure, you're approved at 26%. So, and don't ever buy a vehicle at 26%. Do it. Take the bus. Ride a bicycle.
Try something else before.
Try anything.
And why buying? I see that often. Why buying a 30,000 car if you're not able to have a normal loan? Just go with a more simpler car. If I could say that. Check the priority. It will help you.
So the consumer proposal is awful, and a lot of poor people. Well, sorry, I'm sorry to use that term, but a lot of people who have low credit scores often feel like they need a BMW or they need an Audi. A lot of people that have lower salaries feel like they need a luxury vehicle. It's not going to make you happier. It's only going to make you happier when you buy it in like the few weeks before you buy it, the few weeks after you own it. But the reality is a luxury vehicle, if you're having trouble paying the house or the phone bills or having trouble feeding the kids, who cares what other people think? And remember, millionaires might have fancy cars, but billionaires drive crappy cars. They drive 10-year-old cars. Really,
that's how they made the
really
money.
Wealthy people don't have new cars. And often a lot of old wealth, they might have, a Mercedes. But often the Mercedes is like from the 1960s, and it's been in the family for the last, 60 some years.
Yeah, that's true. And the only thing positive that they say about the consumer proposal is that it could help you with other debt. So it will help you to
but it's going to ruin your credit. Yeah, it's going to help you get your get things back on track,
Yeah, back on
it's
track,
a
thank
little
you.
bit better than a bankruptcy. But
But
a lot of
try
people do
other solution.
try other solutions, because a lot of people do a consumer proposal, then a year later they go to get an auto loan and they get told they're approved, but they're at like 26%. And often they don't even get told, and this is so wrong. They don't even get told they're at 26%. They just say, "Oh yeah, this used vehicle, we're going to lease it to you for 3 years and it's going to cost you this much." And people go, "Oh, okay, and I have to impress the neighbors. I have to look good." And then they get that vehicle, but they're at 26 or 28%.
Yeah, because after you
I
try,
refuse to do those.
Yeah.
I've had clients be like, "Please selling me a vehicle." I'm like, "No, I'm going to have to do
not
it
reasonable.
it's going to be a 3-year lease, and I'm refusing to do that. And don't take a used vehicle on a 3-year lease. Don't touch anyone who offers you that. They're bad people." And almost all my clients end up getting that. And then usually within 6 months to a year later, they actually go through the contract, realize they're at 28%, and then they come back and take the time to actually say, "You're a really good guy. Thank you so much for not selling me a vehicle. I'm never going to buy a vehicle from anyone else other than you." Because they realize me refusing to sell them a vehicle is me refusing one extra steak in my week. That would have bought me a steak. But that's, no. We got to take care of each other.
Yeah, totally. They said here the last step, the sixth one, is the car repossessed. So in case of bankruptcy, so yeah, you need to try the other thing before, because if you have a car repossessed, when I was a financial director at Toyota, we all ask people this question when we went to financing. Do you had a car repossessed before? And if the response is yes, you won't be able to have a car loan for a few years. So it could depend on the brand, how much year. But you said 7 years at the beginning of the life.
Bankruptcy
5 to
7
7,
years.
maybe?
Consumer proposal or car repossessed. Hey, maybe you get off on 5 years, but then maybe on that 5th year, you're on one of these used vehicles for a 3-year lease and often these vehicles don't even last the 3-year lease, but it's still the people's responsibility to fix the vehicle. They have to fix the vehicle during that 3-year lease. So I've seen people at 28% on, let's say, who cares what the manufacturer is? It's irrelevant. But a $38,000 like 2017 vehicle at $38,000 at 28% for a 3-year lease. So what are they going to spend, like $60,000 during that lease? It's wild. It's ridiculous.
And for those who are wondering what's wrong with giving back the car, it's because the leaser.
Yeah.
The leaser has less trust in you. He said, okay, he doesn't know how to budget. I don't want to give him another car, financing it, and
that's
payment.
That's how it's seen. So a lot of people sometimes will think, "Oh, well, my dealer has given me really bad service," or "My vehicle has had to have all sorts of repairs. I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous." You know what? Take this whatever company. Take this Mercedes. I'm leaving the keys here. Now it's your problem. I'm not paying it anymore. And people think that they've somehow done something really bad to either the dealer or the manufacturer. Folks, the dealer doesn't care. The manufacturer doesn't care, because the only thing that's happened is now we could call it like a mini bankruptcy. When you give back the car, it's like a mini bankruptcy. You've ruined your credit for 7 years. Any next loan you take is going to be at a ridiculously high interest rate, and the only one who's in trouble is you, because it's not hurting the manufacturer. So that's tips to help you avoid a repossession, and tips in case you're behind on payments, so that you can just kind of string, and it's okay. You string things along. Maybe for a year, maybe 2 years, calling, working it out, maybe making, a payment, 3 payments, then missing one. But if it's planned, it hurts you a lot less. They don't come repossess the vehicle. And then maybe 2 years later, a year and a half later, things are going a lot better. When I had just hurt my back, I got out of the Army. I had just hurt my back, and I missed phone payments. and no one had given me, the education system hadn't given me knowledge on how the importance of having good credit so that I could buy properties and have, you know, passive income. But I missed phone payments, and because I was out of a job and I had hurt my back, and I was, you know, working sometimes for free for people, working on a farm for free, and I didn't see how it was a big deal. I was like, well, I'll pay them eventually. If I clear what I owe after 6 months, I won't pay it for 6 months, but then, you know, I'll clear it in 6 months when I work in the summer. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I ruined my credit, and it slowed me down. It, you know, removed about 7 years of wealth building in my life, and it really set me back. So I want to help people out, even here to share embarrassing stories. But thankfully I actually had a furniture store hire me, because they're like, oh, you hurt your back and you're in the army, okay, you're a good guy. So they hired me up. So the Brick did a good thing in hiring me. They really did good by me. And then the university hired me, and I got to help run the residences. So that's my story, folks. Now, that's the show this week. I'll let you sign out, because I know you and the baby need to get to bed.
Yeah. So thank you for being here today with us. And please like and subscribe, because it will help us to continue the news and to feed those poodles.
Yes, we'll see you over at All Terrain Nation, folks. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow night with Tim Bartz on Long MacArthur. And wish you all more cars and more power.
Yeah, bye. Good night.